flicker like broken halos. Whispers gather in the smoke-filled air. Tables carved with secrets and shadows. Every story's a wound laid bare. The kettle's boiling with a restless rage. Justice written on an unseen page. I sip the silence, bitter taste, waiting for the ghosts to show their face. At the True Crime Cafe, we serve up the pain they try to hide away. Pour another cup of the truth you crave. Raise your glass to the names they betrayed. Mirrors cracked, reflections are liars. Ashes fall where the guilty once stood. The jukebox hums like a funeral choir. Echoes pounding through the neighborhood. Every scar is a candlelit vow. We hunt the how, we demand the now. No more silence, no more disguise. We'll paint the night with sharpened cry. At the True Crime Cafe, we serve up the pain they try to hide away. Pour another cup of the truth you crave. Raise your glass to the names they betray. This is not a sermon, it's a battlefield hymn, a requiem dripping from the bottle's rim. The guilty write stories in invisible ink, but we'll drag it all up from the edge of the brave. At the True Crime Cafe, the reckoning burns like a black bouquet. Every shadow will pay. In the True Crime Cafe.
All right, all right. Welcome back to the cafe, guys. We're open for business. Grab a seat, get comfortable, fill your cup. Let's get into this. We got a great show scheduled today for you guys. Being joined by another amazing creator out there. I'm super excited for this. I've been looking forward to this for a long time, and I finally got the honor and opportunity to have her join us today. I'm super, super excited. So thank you all for being here for this. We're being joined by Miss Logan from Bronx Tales True Crime. And I'm sure you guys know the channel. Most of you guys are probably already subscribed over there. But if not, we got to make sure that you guys are for sure. Her and her awesome, adorable dog. I think he's amazing. Bronxy, or he or she. I got to make sure I'm correct with that. But absolutely adorable. I love watching her stuff. And she's on point, guys. From what I've been able to tell so far, we're definitely going to have a great conversation today with this. So please come on in. Make sure you share this out. Make sure to hit the like button. There's her link right there, guys. Make sure, I'm telling you, make sure that you guys are 100% subscribed to that channel, guys. Sorry about that. And you will be disappointed if you do not do it, because you're going to miss out on so much great stuff. Speaking of that, let's bring her on in, guys, and get this train moving. Here we go. Welcome, ma'am. How are you today?
So good. How are you? It's so good to be here finally.
Yes, yes, it's wonderful to finally be able to get together with you, and I'm glad. Like I
Absolutely.
said, I'm glad you're feeling better. Um,
Absolutely.
so much crazy stuff going around these days.
Oh
It's
my God.
nuts.
It's so bad. It's either you get the flu or you get pneumonia, both of them equally as bad. So I
Yeah,
hope
and
nobody has gotten it because, ugh.
I know one of my lead moderators. She's been sick.
Mm.
Her daughter's also one of my. She's my I don't even know what she's my creativity designer for my merch shop, and she does a lot of other stuff, but they're both sick, and
Ugh.
it's just going round and round. So
And it's bad this year. It's,
it seems like it's worse than that big C thing was. You know what I mean?
oh
Uh,
yeah, I definitely got it worse. I had that before,
mhm.
obviously, but it seems like what I caught this time was much worse than that. It was
Yeah.
definitely pneumonia, but much worse.
See, that's not good. That scares me because I'm a retired firefighter medic, and I have COPD because I had
Oh,
smoke inhalation twice as a firefighter, and I have crappy lungs. So to get
yeah.
something like that scares the hell out of me.
Well,
So
and it'll take you all the way down, whether you have good
yeah,
lungs or bad lungs, but the bad ones is gonna
yes,
make it 10 times worse.
yeah,
So yeah.
that's what I'm worried about. So hopefully we can avoid that. I eat my vitamin C every day and all that fun stuff. So,
Yep.
but
I
again,
hope.
thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you so very much, Logan, for being here, and I'm looking forward to the conversation. And as is everybody else in here, plenty of people that have been anticipating this. And I think it was Busy that was the one that was super excited that kind of brought us together. So I'm really appreciative of that. Yeah, there she
Mhm.
is, right there. She just popped in. Um, and today's a little different, guys. I'm not going to jump in and say hi to everybody because it takes me forever. But hello to all of you. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for joining us today. We're going to be getting into some discussion on the Idaho 4 case, of course, and moving through that. And I guess at some point we'll set it up, have questions from you guys, and so on and so forth, the way we always do things, guys. So thank you guys so much for being here. And please make sure again to hit the like button, share this out, and make sure you guys hit the link and you subscribe to Bronx Tales True Crime as soon as you see it, guys. I appreciate that so very much. So again, I guess let me ask this to start off. How did you get into doing what we do, Logan?
So when I was about 9, I remember planning my weekend around a Charles Manson interview. Ordered pizza, the whole shebang just by myself. And so then I'm like, oh, I'm really into crime and things
Yeah.
like that. So I've really been I was in 3rd grade when I was reading Helter Skelter. So yeah, been into true crime forever. The reason that I ended up just making a YouTube channel was because I was like, I why not have a platform and gather a group of people where we all have like mind and can talk about it? And really, that's all it was.
Yeah.
Just laid back chit chat. But then I ended up really getting into like the documents and things like that. That's really it. I've been into true crime my whole life, so I was just
Mhm.
like, why not make a channel and talk about it? That's about it.
It makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just a little bit on me. I started probably about 9 years old. I started reading. They were called. I don't know how old you are. I'm not going to ask you. That's rude. I know, but I'm 51, so it's been a long time. And I started
I'm not
reading these
far
books.
behind you.
They were called Encyclopedia Brown stories. Okay, and they were. He was a kid detective. Blah blah blah. So I started reading through all those, and every book they ever produced I read, and they had like multiple endings you could read through and change and all that kind of stuff. They were pretty fun. And then I got into the Hardy Boys Nancy Drew stuff, and I kept
Mhm.
on going and going and going, and as I got older, it just stuck. I was surprised to hear that the Charles Manson thing from you at 9 years old. That's kind of wild. That's awesome. I mean, it tells you right there what you're going to do in life or what your interests are going to be if you're doing it at that young of an age, I think so.
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
and then I, unfortunately, at 12 years old, I lost a very, very close friend of mine. He was murdered,
Mm. Oh, wow.
sodomized. There were some horrible, horrible things done to him. And that person was convicted. Two people were convicted of the crime, and they both sat in prison forever. One of them died of the big C because we can't say it on here, I guess, still. But anyway, the other one is still on death row. This was 40 plus years ago, and or well, a little under 40 years ago anyway, and he's still sitting on death row. 2026 is he's finally supposed to be, you know, but it's been that long since I was 12 years old that this man's been sitting on death row. So for me, that kind of pushed me into this a little bit more about looking for justice and finding out why things like that happen. So,
What state was that in? Was it a national case? Would we know it?
Ohio, no, it didn't go national back then. It was back in 1984, unfortunately. But
okay.
But it's insane to me that this person sat on death row this long. I mean, he did all of his appeals. He tried multiple different things and nothing. They finally lapsed it, and this year's the year supposedly. So it's pretty wild. It's wild. But that's what kind of delved me into like looking into things a little bit more than what just sitting here and watching stuff. You know what I mean? Hiking for justice or whatever you want to call it. And then of course I got involved. I think the first case that ever brought me, like I had notebooks and pens and pencils and stuff like that for the John Benet Ramsey case. I was taking notes on that, so on and so forth. Of course, O.J. Simpson back in 96, I think it was. I was following that one too, and I could not look away, all that kind of stuff. And then the Gabby Petito case is what brought me into here. And it was the first case I covered here. And then Summer Wells, I was very deeply into. Kylie Rodney, very deeply into. And then, of course, the Idaho 4 case exploded and everybody showed up at that point. So ever since then, I've been on that. And I've covered multiple cases: Delphi, Long Island serial killer, Luigi, smaller aspects with some of the other cases, but I've covered a lot of different stuff. I've covered a lot of missing people. And again, like I think I had told you before, I'm a retired firefighter medic. That's what I did. Hurt myself and I could no longer do it anymore. So when you sit at home for so long, you got to find something to do. And I watched everything I could watch. I fixed everything I could fix. I got bored and here we are. So, but
I wish I would have started a channel back in like, I don't know if you ever heard of the Kanika Jenkins case.
Yes.
Yeah. So I wish I would have started it back then with Chris Watts and, because I was into John Benet Ramsey. I was in 3rd grade when OJ was found not guilty. And I talked my principal into pulling a TV into our gym so we could all watch the verdict, and everybody cheered. And I'm like, so this entire room thinks he did not do it, and I'm the one who thinks he did, and I'm the only one who thinks he did? Like, oh my gosh.
That's crazy, though.
But I wish I would have started a channel back in those cases, probably about 2014, 15, because, I followed all those cases, the same ones that you just mentioned. So
Right. Wow, 3rd grade. I love that.
Well, strangely, I don't know if you know this, but the Kanika Jenkins case, I was literally at the hotel, the same hotel that night. I didn't go inside. I was sitting in the parking lot with my friends, but it was at the same time. We were trying to figure out if we wanted to leave the city and go home or stay in the city for the night. It was about 1, 2 in the morning, and we decided to go back home. But it was that hotel parking lot at that time. And I was like shocked the next day when I found out what happened, because I was like, I was there.
Wow.
That was a wild case. Yeah.
Yes, that is crazy. And that, to be there, I mean, only knowing what could have happened or what you were, you know what I mean? That's wild. That is really, really crazy. Very crazy. Again, welcome everybody that's just jumping in. We're being joined today by Logan with Bronx Tales True Crime. We're going to be delving into the Idaho 4 murder case and looking into probably some of the newer stuff, so on and so forth, to see what we can come up with today. So let's see here. I want to make sure. Yes, I do too. A lot of people are saying they like your microphone because it changes the colors and all that.
It does. I've been struggling with it actually lately. It's not like an expensive microphone. It's actually fairly cheap, but I've been struggling with it. It worked perfect at first, and now for some reason it's like doing its own thing. And I also suck at technology. So
well, no,
operator error.
It's not you, because I had that same exact microphone and it worked well for about a month, and then it started doing weird things and cutting out and doing this. So that's why I ended up with this thing here, which I still don't like this one. I have another one that I'm a procrastinator. My blue crew in here will tell you, all my moderators, I was supposed to spin this around, this whole setup here, and change my Outlook and things like that, and then hook up a printer and do all this. And I haven't done it yet. So it's one of those things. They like to harass me big time. Good to see you, SRB. I'm glad you're feeling better, dear. So, Moonlit says, was that the case where the wife ran over her cheating husband? Which one are you talking about, Moonlit?
Kanika, is that what she's talking about? Kanika's the one where she was the younger girl found in the freezer at a hotel.
Yeah.
The same night they had a murder mystery dinner that's located right next to the place that was busted for organ trafficking.
Bingo. Bingo. Yeah. So I don't know if you were talking about something else, Moonlit. I'm sorry. You would never harass me. Oh, of course not, Meg. No.
Hey, Moto Man.
Yeah, I'm sure we share some of the same audience too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good to have you guys here. We got 89 peeps in the house, guys. Make sure to hit that like button, guys, if you will. So, yeah, we only have 39 likes, guys. Come on now. We have a guest today, guys. You can at least like it for her and pretend like you like me or something now. Come on now. Welcome, everybody. Come on in. Again, sometimes it takes time for the room to fill up. But again, so what was your biggest, obviously I know you cover the Idaho 4 case. Let me ask you that to start off with. What was the biggest thing with the Idaho 4 case that drew your attention to that one?
Well, obviously you hear it on the news, right? 4 students horrifically attacked in their sleep. And then, so I followed it at the very beginning, just like everybody else did. And, when you're looking for a suspect, I feel like it's, draws everybody in because everybody's looking for, this site and that site for pictures and connections and this person and that person and so I was doing that whole thing. But it was the moment that, and I was very into spending my time digging into it before they had an arrest. But as soon as they arrested Brian Koberger, when I saw him on the news with his perp walk, my intuition said, no way. Number one, did one solitary person do this? And him, like, he doesn't look coordinated enough to me to be able to do that.
Thank you. Yes.
And then the more that came out, but that's initially what it was. I literally, the second I laid eyes on him, I was like, that doesn't sit right with me. That doesn't look right.
Yeah.
There's something wrong here.
It's interesting you said that because, knowing that he has dyspraxia is another problem for me. When I looked into all of that, I have a bit of a medical background, so I knew a little bit about some of that stuff. And then my wife, she doesn't get involved in this, but we talk a lot. She's got 2 degrees in psychology. So we talk about the psychological aspect of the case and stuff like that. She never believed. She said just looking at him and the things that he does doesn't make sense. Now, my biggest issue, again, with the case was obviously the 8-hour delay, why nobody called 911, how there's 2 survivors in this whole situation, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And then, like you said, as things unfolded, it got so much more evident that I literally sat on the fence for almost 2.5 full years saying, okay, I'm not going to say he couldn't have done it, that I don't know that he did it. He could have done it, I guess, but show me some proof, which they never did. And over the past 6 months, I think, is when everything kind of unfolded to the point where I jumped off the fence and stayed on the fully innocent side of the table, for me, at least, because in my mind at this point, I believe that there's nothing that this man had to do with nothing at all. That's my opinion, of course. But thank you so much, Carol, for that. God bless. We appreciate. Super excited for this live. 2 awesome creators together. Thank you very much.
Hi, Carol.
So,
and just so you know, I actually went to school first, and I haven't shared this with my audience yet, but I went to school for psychology. I didn't end up graduating, but I did go to school for psychology, and I have worked in the medical field for a long time. So
awesome. And you don't have to graduate. If you go to school, I found this out too. If you go to school and take any of the classes or the courses they give you to take for psychology, you don't need to graduate. Once that's there, it's there, period. So,
yep.
And there's a lot to it because I helped my wife with her studies when she went, because she was a late bloomer and went back to school later. So yeah, it was pretty wild. All right, guys, let's see here. I think everybody's starting to flow in now. Again, thank you, Carol, for that. Very much appreciated, guys. Make sure to hit the like button. And if you guys want to today, before, during, and after, I've been pushing this a lot because I've gotten, YouTube gives us the explanations as to what we should do or shouldn't do. Make sure you guys are leaving comments as to what you think about the show today, good or bad. You're not going to hurt my feelings, I promise you. During, before, middle, after, whatever you want to do it, just please make sure to leave a comment. I do definitely read them all, and I try to respond to as many as I can. So thank you for that. So I know we were talking a little bit before about. First off, let me go into this. What are your thoughts on? Did you get a chance to look through the new crime scene photos that were dropped on photo dump number 4?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What do
Oh
you?
yeah.
What are your thoughts on those so far?
I'm in a sense, I'm glad they gave them to us, but
Right.
because so many people, and myself included, was like, hey, there's not enough red fluid here. There's just not in the
Yeah.
initial ones, right? But now that we have these, the amount of red fluid matches, right? However, it's incredibly frustrating to me that it seems that law enforcement or investigators ignored many, many things that we see within these pictures that they could have done tests on, or just anything like that, that they seemingly either chose to ignore or ignored on purpose so they could continue with their own narrative. Like different, I think some of the gravity droplets should have been tested, because that obviously came from, more than likely, a perpetrator standing in the doorway, and it was
Yes.
either coming off himself or the knife. So you have two options. It's either that person cut themselves,
Yes.
and it could have been their red fluid and found who really did it, but they don't
Bingo.
want to know that. Or it's a victim's blood. You have two options. So why not grab that and test it? And they did not. So
Bingo. Yes. Yeah, we're on the same page because I just explained yesterday. I think it was in Xana's doorway. There was a lot of droplets right there, like you said, the gravity droplets on the floor there by the door. And I'm like, those don't look like they were touched. They're not swabbed or nothing. It doesn't look. Why would you not test those? Because exactly that person, in my opinion, I'll say this: whoever did this definitely had to have, in my opinion, cut themselves at some point somehow. Just period. That's how I feel like. And yeah, that could be their droplets. Or again, we don't know exactly. I don't know exactly, at least in my opinion, what weapon was used per se. I believe it could have been a K-bar per se, but I think there was a lot more to that than just that. So, but yeah, again, nothing seemed like it was tested in that aspect. And I also believe, like what you said, with there not being enough blood there on the scene for it to match what we were told, so on and so forth. But even more so, like in Xana's bedroom, you can definitely tell something bad went down in that room.
oh yeah.
No doubt about it. My issue, though, and I'm curious what your thoughts would be on this as well, is in Maddie's room with the photographs we saw. To me, it's hard for me to imagine Kaylee, I guess should say, being attacked in that room because of the lack thereof in that bedroom. In my opinion, I see there's a little bit of spatter here or there, and there are some pretty good stains on the bed and stuff. But for what we know that was done to her, it doesn't seem to me like it happened in that room. I don't know if you have an opinion on that.
I do, actually. So I think that she was initially attacked in the living room or by the pong table, which is why so we've got blood mixtures of Kaylee and Maddie in the house, but we have 100% just Kaylee's red fluid on the pong table in the living room. So in my opinion, that's where she initially was attacked.
Yep.
Now my question is, how did she get back upstairs? Because why would she run up there? She was into true crime, so
Yes.
she would know better than to run upstairs and trap yourself.
Yes. Yes.
So my question now is, how did she get up there?
Exactly. And so we're completely on the same page, because that's exactly how I described my feelings, is that if we're to believe anything that Dylan said, okay, the story she tells, how she hears Kaylee go upstairs, then come running back down, there's somebody upstairs, so on and so forth. So I have thoughts on that. And I believe that, real quick, my thought or theory could be that she went upstairs at some point, maybe even tried to go to her own bedroom, got into bed because it looks like it was folded back. And Murphy goes scratching at the door, whimpering, whining because he hears something, or Kaylee heard something, gets up and goes to walk in the room and sees this person. Either they had already attacked Maddie or they were in the midst of it or something, and she bolts, runs downstairs. They chase after her and possibly catch up to her either in front of Dylan's door, maybe coming down, because there was they did a lot of amino black testing in her doorway there, you know what I mean? And coming down the stairwell also, but going around that pong table, possibly, like you said, nothing but Kaylee's blood on the pong table, and there's a mixture on the half wall, and we did have Xana's blood behind the the bar cart thing too, but still mostly Kaylee's and nothing but Kaylee's on that table. So it made me wonder, did she get attacked there? Did it start there? Because she had some back, some of her injuries were on the back of her body. Okay. Or I believe they said, and again, I don't hold, like, you're welcome to do however you do things here. As if you do it on your own channel too, whatever you're comfortable with. I don't hold back words. I just say what it is, because I believe we have to be real with, you know what I mean? I know YouTube doesn't like certain things, but I just say what it is. But anyway, I believe one of her injuries was that her liver was severed and things like that. And that to me was possibly happening from behind. If somebody's chasing after her, trying to catch up to her, attacking her at that aspect. So I feel like she may have been trying to run to Xana's room, maybe to get protection from Ethan, or just to get to other people to protect her, or possibly even running down the stairs to get out of the house. You know what I mean? But it was hot right there. So there on that aspect is kind of where my theory formed in my mind about what could have went down with that. So.
And it's kind of like Occam's razor. Like, that makes the most logical sense because she's got injuries on her back. If she was upstairs in Maddie's bed, how would she necessarily get those injuries to her back? Now that we have 100% of her blood on the pong table, I agree with your assessment, basically. But I also think that when she came down those stairs, she was met with another perpetrator on the second floor.
There you go. See, yeah. And that's something, you guys, we need to keep in our minds, that I think everybody has the mindset, because it's been shoved down our throats so bad, one person did this. I've never believed that. You guys know that. I've never believed that this was one person. I think that there were a couple people inside and a couple people possibly outside as well, which is something I was told by, I don't know if you're familiar with the WSU mom, Kim. Okay, she was on my show multiple times way back 3 years ago and told me lots of things that have actually kind of come to fruition at this point. It's weird, but you know, so that was one of the main things she said is that, you know, Dago, I believe there was either 3 people inside and 2 outside, or 2 people inside and 3 outside, something like that. And it's always been that. So it kind of always stuck in my head that that's a very grand possibility. So I do believe there was more than one person in the house, because if you think about it, like, there's no way that you're going to, like, hold all these people down while you're attacking somebody else, keep everybody calm and in the house and subdued. It's just not possible. Not even possible. So.
And in my opinion, I do believe there was a knife or a K-bar used, but I believe it was used along with a different weapon on the second floor and a different weapon on the third floor. So 3 technical weapons in my mind is what I'm seeing, just with the injuries and some of the evidence and things like that.
Yes. No, I agree with you. I do agree with you wholeheartedly. Miss Potts, thank you for joining us today. Stain F on the side of the pong table is actually unidentified, according to the state's expert rebuttal duck. Thank you. So that could be maybe one of the perpetrators' blood. Just saying. That's interesting. I don't know if you ever followed Miss Potts. She's got a channel herself, and she does a lot of she does great things over there.
Yeah.
Love it. I'm grateful she's here with us today. So yeah, sorry, I'm a little bit out of sorts because of all the things I had going on before this morning. So I'm trying to put my head back into where we were at.
No worries.
And again, I'm very badly ADHD, so I jump all over the place. If I don't say something, I forget it.
I ask you if you were ADHD earlier when you said you were a procrastinator.
Yes, I am bad.
I have horrible ADHD. I'm the worst procrastinator too.
Yes, it's horrible. So please accept my apology up front.
It's not on purpose, guys.
No, it's not at all. I promise you. They know me. They know how to deal with me too. That's the thing. So thank you so much, Robin. Again, Robin is I work on another panel at night with Devil's Advocates. We do the Crimes After Dark show, and Robin is one of the advocates over there, the producer for that show too. So,
oh, sweet.
Yes, great to see you in here, Robin. Thank you for joining us today. So okay, now where was I at? So multiple people, yes, inside the home, so on and so forth. I truly believe that. Now, I did have another thing that I have a big issue with too, and then I want to get into some of the stuff we were talking about with the newer documents and stuff, but the footprint in front of Dylan's doorway. When I went through the photographs with this, we were going through this in my Discord with my mods too, and then over on the Devil's Advocates panel as well. that footprint bothers me really bad because I never realized that it was running parallel with the doorway. I thought it was pointing outward or inward. Okay. So to see that kind of gives me a different frame of mind completely with that footprint. And I'm gonna call it what it is. I think it's hers. Okay. It may not be, but I think it's hers. But whoever it does belong to, based on the way it's shown to us, it looks like that person's standing there straddling her doorway, watching something go on in the living room. Okay. And I had to wonder if that was her or whoever it is again. Did they watch that scenario that I just played out in my mind and told you about of Kaylee getting attacked in that living room area by the pong table area? Were they standing there in the doorway watching this happen? And that's kind of what I'm thinking now. I don't believe Dylan's story about I opened the door 3 times and I watched him go out there. You can't even see that doorway from her doorway if you crack it open first. But no, I don't believe any of that. Any thoughts on any of that?
Yeah, so I'm at this moment, because they're so new and I'm a huge skeptic, so I'm not convinced that that's even a footprint, only because I don't and it's because of the picture itself really that I don't necessarily I can't see the roundedness of like a shoe print like I was expecting to.
Yeah.
So, I'm not 100% convinced that it's actually a shoe print, but I don't have much else to go off of. So, let's just say it is a shoe print. I either thought, I know it came out that it could possibly be an officer's, but I still think that might be a little bit weird.
Yeah.
So my initial thoughts on it, if it is a footprint, is either it was somebody else standing there by her door, like listening, maybe like seeing if she was, what she was doing in there, if she was going to come out or whatever, standing there watching, standing there waiting, or it could be her stepping out of her door to like peek around the corner, to like see around the corner.
Right.
I just, at this point, I don't really have a set thing that I'm set on right now for what I think with that. I'm not even convinced at this point it's actually a footprint.
Gotcha.
Very well could be. I just haven't looked into it that much, but just the looks of it is kind of just weird. I also thought it was going to be a footprint as if you're going either into the room or out of the room.
Yeah, I think we all did.
Of it's strange.
Yeah, when I looked at it, I was shocked about that because her door had to be all the way open for that to be that way. Because from what I can tell, looking at it, I kind of did a whole tracing thing with it in my own mind and did this and did that. It looks like the toe, if it is a footprint, is facing the door frame, like where the door hinges would be. So it's kind of hard to imagine like you'd be walking into the wall if you're, you know what I mean? So, and I went and grabbed a pair of my Vans and I'm an old ex-skateboarder, so I'm kind of still in that mode in my mind. I still have these shoes as if I'm never going to do it again. But I have Vans, I have Chuck Taylors, Converse, and all those. And I checked both of them. I was looking at them just because I had seen somebody had left a comment somewhere about maybe they were Chucks or something like that. It matches almost identical the pattern on the bottom of my pair of Vans. So I do believe it very well could be at least a partial of a shoe print, but you could be right. I have no qualms with what you said at all because it very well could be something completely different. Just looks like that. You know what I mean? So there's no problems there. Why would they highlight that one and only print? If you're going to look for that, at least look for the ones to get the idea of the path of travel. I agree. Thank you, Moto. Very much appreciated, brother. And yeah, I agree with that. And that's something I've always had issues with too, is there's only one. Where's the rest of it? How were you standing? Were you standing there hopping up and down? What were you doing? It's weird, but agreed, 100%. Yes, thank you so much, Moto, for that. We appreciate you, bud. So what is your, before we jump into this other stuff, what's your, at this moment in the case and so on and so forth, what's your biggest issue right now?
I don't know. Gosh, there's so many of them. And it's sad that you can even say that in any case. To have this many issues is wild. I think that it was so law enforcement, the players at B in this case are so powerful that nobody's speaking to this day. And I struggle with that because as you see, when something happens in my backyard, I'm running all over it to show where he worked and where, people, not one person did that there, and they're still not doing it. So they're all terrified of somebody and something. And I believe that everybody there knows, not everybody, but most people know actually what happened, maybe who it was, and they're not speaking because they're terrified, which tells you they don't have the right person in jail. If they had the right person in jail, everybody would be coming out talking about it, you know, telling what they know, what they saw, what they heard, who they talked to, all the rumors, you know, but nobody's speaking. And I struggle with that. So it tells me that law enforcement, I think, purposely chose to ignore certain things, and it, because of the things they chose to ignore that were so major that could have given them leads or a story or told them exactly what happened as they investigate into, you know, information further. They didn't do any of that, and they took the roommates at their word. If those were males, they would have been arrested immediately, especially a male standing there with a knife, which tells me that a lot of this is almost like they knew it was going to happen. They knew what was going on. They knew what it was going to take place. They were investigating the Aryan stuff and the drug stuff and everything. And now that we know that a CI was possibly one of the victims, tells me more and more that it was possibly a hit of some sort for some reason. So the fact that officers chose to ignore all of that immediately tells me that they know more, and they definitely covered it up on purpose.
I have to agree. I have to fully agree. Can I ask you real quick? Are you from Canada by chance?
I'm from Illinois.
Illinois. Maybe that's it then. Maybe you had. I heard something in your voice that sounded kind of either Minnesota or but maybe it's the Illinois thing. I don't know. That's wild.
Even people here make fun of the way I talk. I don't know why.
No, it's not. I don't. By no means am I making fun of it. It just sounded like, it reminded me of. There's that ADHD thing. I get stupid things in my head, and it catches stupid things. So
you hyper focus on something that's completely unnecessary.
So unbelievably weird, and that's me. My apologies. All right. So as we were starting to talk about a little bit in the beginning, there was some new stuff that dropped.
Yes.
And there's quite a bit of it. And I haven't truly gotten to go through it all, but I'm grateful that I get to do this with you, because I'm really curious what your take is going to be on some of this stuff. Now, if you don't mind, because I didn't get to go through a lot of this because I was crazy busy yesterday, unfortunately. I ran a show at noon with Typically Unique, and then I did my show, and then I was on the Devil's Advocates last night. So I never have really gotten to dig in. I just scanned what we talked about with Kaylee initially. Where is that located at in the documents? Do you happen to know the page? Because I'll just pull it up by page.
Let me see. I actually took a screenshot of something that I saw, so I don't even know exactly. I didn't get it from the actual, I mean, it's in the actual documents, but that's not where I pulled it from. I grabbed a screenshot from Christy's Chaos.
Oh, okay. Christy. Yeah.
Yep. So
she's one of my mods. She's awesome. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, she posted, I think yesterday, 3 pages of the autopsy, and it was just something I saw in Kaylee's that
we'll go there. Then we will go there
it for me,
which is kind of what you surprised me when you told me that. And I don't know if you guys know this, but it's in these. Let me see. Where do you have it, Christy? Where do you have it? Short. Is it on her community post? Oh, here it is.
Yep. It's in just like a regular post.
Yes. Okay. Gotcha. Thank you so much. Bingo. I see it now. Because I don't know what page it's on. Technical report. Sheets was staged. Maddie. Here we go. Thanks, Logan. I appreciate the.
Yeah. It's just an easier way to.
Yeah, definitely. And this is wild. Can I blow it up? Yeah, I can. I should be able to.
You can. And look at, where did I see it at? I think it was like number 9 or something on.
Gotcha. And again, guys, make sure to subscribe if you have not yet to Christy's channel. Christy does amazing things. She's an amazing moderator and just super great creator and does awesome stuff. So please make sure that you guys are subscribed over there and showing some support for all the hard work she puts in. So I believe this would be the report you were talking about, I'm guessing, with the autopsies here.
If you just look at number 9,
Yes.
it tells you exactly what I said.
Oh, hold on here. Yeah, no problem. And see, I knew bingo, or no. 1 second.
Nope, not that one. Let me see what page it is that she posted.
1 second. And we knew that there was asphyxial injuries, and I was thinking about that kind of stuff before you guys, not what Logan told me this morning. Not at all. So quite interesting. It's saying Kaylee's autopsy gives the date and time, cause of death, multiple sharp force injuries, blunt force injuries of the head, asphyxial injuries. Well, there's something to that now, guys, that I was very shocked to hear. And I guess not shocked, but I didn't know. So in turn, and it also gives me a very, I guess you could say, like a for sure feeling that this was more personal than anything, in my opinion, I'll say.
Yeah, stabbing itself is very personal, but now this is over the top personal.
Yes, I agree. And it basically this is not the right page, then I take it.
I think it should be it's not that one. Go to the first one and go to number 9. Does it show a number 9?
It stops there.
Can you click on it? Like pull the whole picture itself?
It won't let me. Hold on, let me back it up. Try this again. Go to her posts. It's a little too big. I can't see it now. Hold on, guys. Sorry. Okay. Autopsy reports Kaylee, Maddie's in. Okay, so
will it let you open that? Like just bring up the picture? Like double click on it? No?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, maybe.
See, let me try to keep doing this and see if it'll. Nope.
On that one?
No. If I could find what page this is, I could just pull it up because I already have the document pulled up. I just didn't know exactly what page that was on. You sent it in DM. Oh, okay. Hold on.
Page 5 of 88.
Aha. There we go. Let's do that then. All right.
But I think it might be actually page 6.
No problem. All right. Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry about this, Logan.
Oh no, I do this all the time. Like, wait, where'd I put that? Where can I find it?
Page 6 of 88. Here we go. Okay. Good stuff. And thank you, Fizzy, for sending it anyway, hun. Okay. Boom. Now I can blow that up. This is actually better. Okay. Great job, by the way, with that, Christy, if you're in here. Thank you for putting out what you did. Oh, what did I just do? Nope. What am I doing? Sorry, you guys. Did I just take myself out of this? I did, didn't I? 1 minute.
Because that doesn't look right.
No, it's not. I somehow or another I hit a button and took me backwards. So 1 second. Just give me a second. I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm nervous for some reason today, and I've had guests on here multiple times. I don't know what is wrong with me today.
Actually, I'll just email it to you.
I think Busy said she dropped it in the back, so I can just grab it. You don't have to worry about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 1 second. I'll just pull that. Good Lord. My apologies. Here we go. Okay. Sorry, everybody. I know what's wrong with me today. Okay, here we go. All right. page 5, page 6.
That looks right.
Is that the one there? Whoa. Okay.
Is there a number 9? There you
Yep.
go.
There it is.
Right
There
there.
it is. Yeah. So it says, which we've already known some of these injuries to her. Okay. Punctures of the outer table, the skull, injuries of the teeth and tongue. We know that her teeth were knocked out in a bad way. Perforations of the subclavian artery and vein. Hemorrhage in the chest cavities. Blunt force injuries included scalp laceration, bleeding around the brain, nasal fractures, scrapes on the nose and cheeks, bruising around the eyes, patterned bruises extending across the lower face. Petechial hemorrhages were present in the eyes and mouth. Now, she told me what this means, guys. And from my experience, I know what this means from being a medic, okay? That means, and I'll let you go ahead if you want to, Logan, go ahead and explain that. Petechial,
Sure.
guys, when your eyes are like blood within your eyes, for those of you who don't understand it, go for it.
So, petechial hemorrhages is when you see a person who has been strangled, as their breathing is being cut off, all the pressure in their face from not being able to breathe, they get these broken blood vessels around their eyes, in their eyes. It can be around your mouth. And you only get that from strangulation.
Right.
She was strangled.
Either that, or if you've ever seen anybody that's passed away from a hanging or
Yeah.
It's the same thing because you're cutting off the air supply.
Yep.
But she was strangled.
Or a garrote, or anything that is around the neck. From my understanding, that there wasn't any type of anything around, like an object they could tell, because you'd be able to tell if an object was used to strangle her.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but
right. No, I don't believe it would be. Yeah, I believe it's manual strangulation, Tomboy, not choking. It would be, there would have to be some kind of a pressure applied around that portion to cause the petechial to do that. The petechiae. I'm sorry. Anyway, but yes. So again, like Hangman just said, to me, that's very personal, folks. Very, very personal. Okay. And if you go back and look, I don't even have to pull this up, but that in a lot of situations, like in relationship situations, when somebody is harmed, attacked, or even killed, there's a strangulation aspect to it. Some senses, they're not. So they're saying there's no marks around her neck. Well, again, it could have been that. You could also put, kneeling on somebody, that can do it there too. But it says the pattern bruises extending across the lower face. Petechial hemorrhages were present in the eyes and mouth, so around the mouth area as well, folks. Okay. Blood alcohol. Now, that's another big thing, was the blood alcohol content of 0.107. And did you happen to notice that what Maddie and Ethan's blood alcohol levels were?
You know what? I stopped when I saw petechial hemorrhage because it kind of blew me away. Yeah. I expected it, and so I don't know why it did. But as soon as I saw that in writing, it kind of blew me away, just because of some of the stuff that Mabbott said and things like that. So I was really stuck on that. I just saw that this morning. So
yeah, and I'm just right. I see. I didn't get to that. I'm seeing this now, though. It says patchy hemo aspiration pattern with evidence of blood in the upper and lower airways. So maybe she did. But I'm still feeling like you would have to. I'm thinking, you guys. Maybe she did choke on her own blood, and that's where the aspiration or asphyxial came from. But it's still to get. I can't imagine that would cause petechia. Well, then again, choking, it could. I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit more, but it's still crazy. And then Fizzy sent something on that. Stab and incised wounds of the scalp, face, and neck, stab wounds of the chest, and incised wounds of the upper extremities, of course. And another one that they had said before, too, was that there was an internal intercranial fracture, meaning and that's an odd wound and injury for me, because it almost sounded like something inside of her skull was damaged, like coming outward, if that makes any sense. Unless it was, from the blunt force going through her facial. I'm sorry to be so morbid, you guys. Trigger warning. And through this area and then coming out through the skull, possibly. I don't know. It could be. I'm just saying there's a lot to this. Smothering, strangulation, or okay. Let me see. And also I was given that. Thank you, Fizzy. Okay, here we go. We like to do this just to try to give everybody blunt force trauma to the head. Okay, that's not the right one. 1 second here. Where'd it go? Is it this one? Yeah. Okay. So this is what choking on the blood or obstruction would be. It's more consistent. If someone aspirates or chokes on blood, it can interfere with breathing, increase pressure in the chest and head, impair venous return from the face and eyes. That combination, yes. Well, there it is. There's your answer. It can cause that if you choke on your own blood. So there you go, Tomboy. Will produce petechial hemorrhages, especially in the eyes, around the mouth, sometimes on the face. Depends on the duration and severity of obstruction, whether breathing was significantly compromised. So I gotta wonder, was it just that, or did somebody, and especially if there's something around her mouth, I wondered if maybe, and I hate again to be so morbid when I say this, but there was talk before about like being bound and gagged. I'm not saying that's what I think, but I can imagine, like, if somebody's screaming, they're going to want to quiet them down and maybe put something in her mouth.
Well, and her dad said he said this in court to Judge Hippler. I hate the word gag order because some of the victims were gagged.
Yes. And I got to wonder if you were to take, again, folks, excuse this, and trigger warnings, mods, you might want to drop some. Like shove a sock in somebody's mouth down into their throat, and that would cause the same type of thing here, okay, to shut them up. I'm just saying, it's sad to say it like that, but yes, that's very sad to me.
For petechial hemorrhages around the eyes and mouth, doesn't there have to be some sort of pressure though on the neck?
Says, I thought that too. You're right. That's why I automatically thought that, but it says if someone aspirates or chokes on blood, it can interfere with breathing, increase pressure in the chest and head, which would make you try to, because you're causing pressure by trying to breathe through that. Okay. Right. Impair the venous return, which is another big problem from the face and eyes, which in turn is going to cause the petechial hemorrhaging.
Okay. Yeah.
And that says the combination of both of those would produce petechial hemorrhages, especially in the eyes, around the mouth, and sometimes the face. So yeah.
Interesting.
It is. I have a medical background. I'm still learning these things. I always thought, like you said, that there had to be some form of pressure here that would, basically it squeezes this area of your body and it causes the blood vessels to burst. So,
right.
Thank you, Carol. Are the mods still in here? Meg's here. Oh, you quit? Okay. Sorry, Meg. Thank you, Moonlit. Let's see. No, I got you, Moonlit. I understand completely. All right. Hey, Kat. Good to see you, dear. Moving on. Anyway, so that is it's still very interesting. Now, moving on also, one of the things, that's why I'd asked you about it, that I noticed is that the blood alcohol level, okay, of at least two of them it was beyond like a level that I've ever seen. It's very high. Dangerously high, okay, and it was with I think it was Maddie and Ethan are the two that I saw. I'm trying to see if I can get back to that point.
Let's see.
And it gave the exact number was really up there. And just to be honest, there was another statement about Ethan, his level of
Maddie's was 229.
Yes, very zero.
Wow.
You see what I mean? 229.
That is like, wow. For her size too.
She shouldn't have been able to function at all.
Oh, that's poisoning all the way.
Yes, 100%. And just so everybody understands, I found this out yesterday. Brian, can you ask my question? I don't, hold on 1 minute, guys. I'm trying to keep up here.
Ethan's was 122.
And yeah, and there was a level of not Xanax, but the oh my god, Adderall in his system, so that you guys understand, the higher the number, the lower the amount in the system for when it comes to that type of stuff. Okay, if it's a amphetamine, I believe it is.
So how come they said that there were no drugs found in any of the victims' system and the only thing was alcohol? Why did they tell us that?
Well, if you notice, they were avoiding the whole drug aspect to this the whole time. They kept going away from it, going away from it, going away from it. Well, maybe because it has something to do with it, possibly. There it is. Thank you.
Exactly.
Yep. 260 ng per milliliter of amphetamine. Xana had 12. And so, again, the more, from my understanding, the more that shows with the NGs in this aspect for amphetamines is the lower amount, is how I understood this yesterday. Somebody told us. So I don't know. Like they said, there were no illicit drugs in their system.
Right.
Now, something I want to bring up is something my videographer had found this. Molly digs and digs and digs and digs, and she found a document from the state, by the way. It was from the state, okay? And it stated they showed 4 murders. Those were the only 4 murders that had happened at that point. And it showed that 2 of them had illicit drugs in their body and 2 of them did not.
Right. So Ethan
So
and
now,
Xana
yeah, so now we're seeing that, right? Miss Potts says, I don't know if it's urine or blood as this state's expert is referencing. Gotcha. Thank you, Annie. I don't understand about lying about the drugs. I don't either, unless they're avoiding the absolute topic of drugs, period, to stay away from that because of the situation, maybe.
Well, here's kind of the way I look at it. If they're going to give us information, more than likely it's because there's nothing with it, right? We're not going to find anything. They don't have a problem sharing information if there's nothing to it. So I feel like when they put stuff out, some of it is because there's really nothing to it. But if it's information they don't want us to have, right, they're not going to give it to us. So I think not talking about the drugs at all and coming out and saying that it wasn't, none of them had drugs in their system, only alcohol, was a big deal, which tells me this whole thing might have something to do with it, especially now that we hear that one of the victims was a CI.
Bingo. Yep. That is absolutely my thought. See, here's my thing, Annie. I was under the I thought possibly that the amount of drugs, the Adderall, could have caused an overdose. And somebody came and said that it's the opposite of that. So that's what I don't understand. And I'm still lost on that. So I'm, you know more about that stuff than I do, Annie. So Adderall is listed as an amphetamine. Yes. If it's a urine test, it means he consumed large amounts in the 3 days to a week prior. Okay.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but last night on my live, I thought I saw a tooth on the floor. Well, now that I'm reading, it says right here, wounds extending into the bones of the right hand of Xana. Instead of being a tooth, it was probably a bone fragment that I saw on the floor.
That would make sense. And I thought I saw one on the floor in the kitchen on the mat. It looked like it could have been one there too. So
my goodness.
Wow. If it's
and all of this takes time to do.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So, it's not going to be Brian Koberger by himself doing all of this to 4 victims, fighting each of them, different weapons, not tracing anything outside of either room in 5 minutes or 7 minutes.
No way.
No way. No way. In a home he'd never been in? Stop. That's
not
crazy.
ever. Not ever. It doesn't make sense. And yes, Kim, if somebody that doesn't have ADHD takes Adderall, then yes, it's going to be like, in a sense, almost like doing cocaine per se for them, because it gives them an up, like it lifts them up and they speed around. They want to do everything. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, my oldest son had an issue with it, and then he moved on to the next best thing. And so it was a big problem, very big problem, which typically does happen in a lot of aspects. Welcome.
Well, and her mom did, you know what I mean? Kara did. That's what she used as well. So
yes, it's a problem.
right?
What about the smiley face? Okay. Hey, John, welcome. That is not completely drawn in blood. That was a couple curly fries that had fallen on the floor as well.
And my initial thought on that actually is I don't think Murphy was running around then because I feel like he would have eaten them.
Yeah, I agree with that one too. And what are your thoughts? Do you think he was there the whole time, or do you
I
think that
don't know. I don't know. It's so hard to tell because we hear the barking, but it could be
Mhm.
another dog in the neighborhood as well.
Yeah,
Um, I
yeah,
feel like if he was there, we would see him tracking stuff.
especially if that back door was open. If he was outside at any point and that back door was left open, he'd have went in there looking for his person, and probably, they smell everything, and tried to
Oh,
go
yeah.
find her, I would think. And I think I saw one photograph where there's a couple paw prints in Maddie's bedroom, I think, on the floor at the end of the bed. I thought like three of them, but they're not like per
Okay.
se bloody. They're just paw prints. So it could be that they're just regular paw prints. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, and I wondered, did the poor dog go in there, see what was going on? She's not moving. She's not responding to him, and take off and go hide in her bedroom on the bed because of that situation,
Right. I'm so torn on if he was there and if he was not there. I'm very torn on it.
Very much so. Yes, I agree with that.
I
Very
feel
much.
like if he was, we would see more evidence of it, and we just don't, and it's just strange to me.
Right. I don't mean to be a bother. And no, not a bother, not a bother. But I really want to know your opinion on an allergic reaction mixed with alcohol.
I don't think there would necessarily be an allergic reaction. If anything, the most that obviously they were used to taking it, right? If they've got it out on their debt, that was something common with them or between them.
Yeah,
So really what would happen, in my opinion, if you're taking an amphetamine and drinking, it's going to make you think you're less drunk or feel less drunk than you are.
I agree. I agree.
Amphetamines sober you up when you're drinking.
Which would be why a lot of people take them. If they drink a lot and they want to party, they want to keep going, they take that to
Mhm.
keep going. So
Yep.
his levels do not seem to be therapeutic levels, whether it's urine or a blood test. Good point. Good point, Miss Annie. Good point. But again, and I have a question too that was brought up last night. We were talking about this with the amount of their alcohol levels. Okay, how can I say this? What I was trying to say was, I almost wondered if they were forced to drink more alcohol, possibly when this went down. If somebody maybe held them down or threatened them in some form or fashion and made them drink more to make it that high. You know what I mean? A lot of
Yeah.
people stated in the reports that they had never seen Maddie like that night. And we watched her walk and stuff. So,
Mhm.
but to get to that level, I mean, maybe she just drank too much, just to be real. But other people brought that up. Or did they force them to drink it? Did they do that on, things like that? And it could be either one, I guess. Very high doses can cause hallucinations. Drinking while on a high dose is not recommended. I have ADHD and can you tell? But I think a lot of us do these days. I think a lot of us do truly. Party time, madness. Yes. Okay.
Somebody said waterboarding, but with alcohol. It's just an interesting thought. See, that's why I love the chat, because people, come
Yeah,
up with stuff that my brain didn't come up with. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
100%. I've always been like fully interactive because I love seeing what they have to say.
Yeah.
Always.
Chat is the best.
This girl, I knew that. Oh, I didn't even see it. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep up. There's like 300 some odd people here, guys. So bear with me. You know how I am sometimes. I commented saying this girl I knew that was murdered. The murderer was shooting her up with meth to keep her alive. Oh, horrible. That's horrible. Now I don't know, like I said, I don't see anything that states that happened, but he also had the highest LR for the DNA under Maddie's nails, and SC could see their match next day after a profile was uploaded. As a consumer to a database law enforcement is barred from. Interesting. Very interesting. So moving. Thank you, Annie. I really appreciate your input, Annie. Then the profile was promptly removed after saw their match. Right. Okay. I gotcha. Yeah, they definitely are. There's a lot of lying going on here, folks. There's a lot of lying and there's a lot of withholding. Why? That's my biggest thing is why. Like, and let me ask this question too. I'm curious what you think. Let's say that this didn't happen the way they said it did, okay? Which I believe that most of us think it didn't. So let's say the whole thing I explained earlier. Kaylee runs down the stairs, this and that, everything else. Why does it seem like they made this, they staged this to look this way, that they died in their sleep? Why is that so important? I mean, that's what I can't come
Well,
to grips with.
in my opinion, it's because look at Brian Koberger. Does it look like he could really take on 4 people that are awake and still partying, dancing with their dog, just coming in, eating their food? Does it really look like Brian Koberger could take on 4 people that were awake and aware? And no. So they need them to be in their bed sleeping for him to be able to pull this off.
Good point. Very good point.
That's what I think.
That makes perfect sense. It does. That absolutely makes perfect sense. Do you have any thoughts? And I know we're jumping all over the place, but I don't want to keep you here forever. So, do you have any thoughts into Brian? Where does Brian come into the picture, Logan? What do you think with him and why?
I think it was before the crime happened. Why is he being pulled over so many times? Why do they have so much information on him? Why is his name in the document before they even have his DNA? What, I think he was being tracked and watched prior. I just don't know why. I don't know if it's because of, now there was a document, I think it was in the mix of the documents recently, where his email was blocked out and it was redacted. And on top of it, it said employee email. And it was from WSU police, Pullman police.
Okay.
So did he get that job that he interviewed for? Was he involved in?
Did he get a job? Yeah. No.
Right.
See, you're not the only person that said that to me. And you kind of gotta wonder. So in that aspect, did he have something going on? And I've said this before, a lot of people believe that Brian does something or did something for the feds, so on and so forth, because of the way things went down, because of what he does, his education, stuff like that. But that's very interesting.
Another reason that makes me think, he wanted to be involved with law enforcement so bad, or along those lines, right? And another reason that makes me think it's possible that he was actually involved is because every single person who goes to prison gets a death penalty or a life sentence. They fight it whether they did it or not. Why is he not? Why is he not fighting it?
Yeah,
He just not yet. Maybe we need to give it some time. I don't know.
And that's kind of what I've thought. I've had the inclination that there's something going on right now as we speak behind the scenes, that they're looking into proving. This is just, maybe it's wishful thinking. It probably is more of that than anything, but that they're trying to prove the, obvious prosecutorial misconduct, judicial misconduct, in my opinion, of course, and the investigation itself being so absolutely flawed that there's no, you know what I mean, and or the the obvious fact that there's other people that did this and not him.
Right.
But that's what I think they're trying to do, possibly, if anything, because again, and I know everybody's going to say that they don't have to, but we haven't seen the defense team withdraw as his defense at all. Okay. Which tells me, at least in my mind, and again, I think it's wishful thinking, that there's still something going on in the background, that they're still doing some things for him. But, I just wonder. I just wanted to put that out there too. I hope, because I truly don't believe it's him. I don't at all.
No, I don't either. And I don't feel like we're really off on thinking that, because look at how many people in the world that have the same thought patterns as us. So,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's not a coincidence. It can't be this many people that are crazy. You know what I mean?
That's what I said that yesterday or the day before. I said, there's too many of us out here that think the same way. I know there's people that believe that he did it. That's fine. But I swear to you, I've even noticed that the guilter side to this has shrunk. And there's a lot more guilters that are kind of walking over saying, hey, I see what you're saying now. There's people that were in the show last night over at Devil's Advocate saying, I see things differently now. I didn't see this before. Now I get it.
I have a couple people, I just started not that long ago, so we're still, on the process of growing, but I even had some people in my chat recently that said, hey, I'm here to be open-minded because I want to know something's not sitting right with me. I think he did it, but something just isn't sitting right. So I'm here to learn why you guys think that he did not do it.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing more of that as well.
And they're not showing. And that's what I think some of these people are opening their eyes and saying, okay, they really haven't shown any proof that Brian did this. They were all on board saying there's so much more that we're going to see when this goes to trial. But then at the sentencing hearing, Mr. Taylor stands up and reads the damn PCA that's garbage, that doesn't even exist anymore. He himself said it doesn't matter anymore. And that's all he did. There was nothing else, you guys. There is nothing else. There never has been. Okay. And they knew that. And hearing Steve Gonsalves in his interview state, because he's so angry, and I get that. And I get that sometimes Steve says things maybe that are off, but I believe this statement when he said that Bill Thompson got down on his hands and knees and begged the defense to take this plea deal. Well, I believe that at this point because I believe they didn't have a case. And I think that this was never supposed to go to trial, Logan. I think that the plea deal was in mind from the beginning, that they knew they were going to do this. They were going to try to scare him and corner him into having to take a plea deal because they knew that they could not convict him the way you should because they had no case to convict him with.
When I watched the house get torn down, I said, oh, this isn't going to trial.
Right. 100%. Right.
It was never going to trial.
Yes. The plan was from the beginning. That's why the death penalty was attached to this in the beginning, I believe, to use as leverage.
Overcharge.
Yes. 100%. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. So again, same page, same book, same chapter. Yes. Absolutely. Hold on, guys. Please bear with me. I'm trying to keep up with you guys today. Thank you, Moonlit. And by the way, I see a lot of new faces. I'm guessing some of these are probably, obviously, people from your community. Welcome to all of you guys, and thank you so much for joining us today. Very much appreciate you guys joining us. And I'm sorry I didn't say that sooner. But his defense did withdraw on this case, as it is in the courts now. That is in the plea advisory he signed off on. Oh, see, I didn't see. No, well, okay. I guess maybe I misspoke on what I was trying to say. That they're still in the background, from my understanding. But they're obviously, if this goes into like a habeas corpus situation or an appeal aspect in that, they can't do anything anyway. It would have to be appellate attorneys, which I mean, I do know that Alyssa, I can't ever say her name right, I think. But anyway, my understanding is she is appellate authorized, or whatever that's called, certified. So maybe she would be on, but I don't know. But yeah, thank you, Busy, again. Make sure you guys subscribe to Bronx Tales True Crime, please, and thank you. Don't forget to do that, and make sure you hit the notifier, that way you don't miss anything that Miss Logan puts out, guys, because it's always amazing and always awesome. All right. Anyway, moving forward here, I was going to try to pull some of this other stuff up. I feel like I'm so disorganized for some reason today. I did too much yesterday and I didn't get too focused, and I'm so sorry for that.
Oh, I feel disorganized every day, even when I am kind of organized. I feel disorganized.
It's crazy. Oh, that's another question I was going to ask you. Do you believe that, okay, with everything we got with this that came out on the WSU lawsuit, okay, and of course we saw before that all the complaints about Brian from WSU people, so on and so forth. I personally feel that was all brought into effect as part of propaganda to have the public convict him. Like, I don't believe that any of that would have came out if Brian wouldn't have been arrested, period. That's just my opinion. And I still feel that way. And I think that it's been way overdrawn and overdone, that it's ridiculous. Some of the things that have been stated, they're picking on him. I feel like it's bullying and that they're picking on him. Thank you so much, Moto Man. Any thoughts on that whole situation real quick?
Yeah. the only way for me to believe that these complaints actually existed before the fact, like when they say the complaints happened, is if it's, you know, some on a text message that has a date and timestamp, something,
Yeah.
because I don't necessarily, I'm a huge skeptic. I don't believe anything at first. So
Right. Yeah.
I just feel like, how hard is it to get somebody to write a paper that says this guy's bothering me? You know, being weird and bothering somebody isn't against the law
No.
unless you get into stalking, which they said he wasn't. So
No, but they were stalking him.
absolutely. It's wild. I feel like I'm really hoping that in the defending WSU, they bring up points that could help in his defense of freeing him. You know, they need to prove in some way, somehow, that he didn't do it in
Yes.
order to not have to pay out all this money, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, they were stalking him. They're keeping this tally of this and everything he does. They're watching, they're following him around. They're like picking it apart, guys. And that's creepy to me, way more creepier than anything they've explained. What's up, Willie? I see you, bud. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep focused, bro. I see you today. By the way, I don't know if you're familiar with Truth Nation Uncensored. Willie is he grew up with Brian in the area over there, where Brian
Really?
grew up, went to school with him, and he knows his parents, so on and so forth. Yeah, I mean, they're not like best of friends, but
Right.
he knows of him, and they know each other's
Wow.
families and stuff like that. So,
Wow.
yeah, he's been trying to reach out to Michael, Brian's dad, and let him know that there is a support system out here supporting them over there, that we don't believe Brian did this, so on and so forth, and all of that. So Willie's been grinding hardcore on this since this went down too, because he again said, I know who Brian is. I knew Brian. I saw Brian all the time. They have friends and you know, together they know the same type people, so on and so forth. And this is not the type of guy that would do this, period. So that's why Willie's been advocating nonstop for this. So
How come there's not one person in Brian's life that came out from his earlier life, right? Prior to college, childhood, just an acquaintance, a classmate, anything that came out and was like, yeah, he bothered me too. He trapped me in a corner. He did that. How come there's not one person?
because he never did that. That's my opinion. Now there were people that tried to come out, like on a couple of one of the interviews Willie did. And he spoke to a couple of people, but they tried to, all the stuff you saw of people that knew Brian from his hometown area and stuff, anything that they interviewed them, when they said it, they took everything out of it that could be positive whatsoever.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, there was the one guy he talked to said, yeah, that his exact words were mainstream media, F them. They're trying to paint a picture of a monster, and that's not who he was. And they completely, in the Nightline stuff, the Dateline stuff, anybody they interviewed that knew Brian from Pennsylvania, as soon as they would go to mention anything positive or anything, like Casey Arntz, the girl that was basically his girlfriend, okay?
Right.
They were always together, like Willie said, always seen together, so on and so forth. They would cut it. They cut it all out of there because it didn't fit the script for the propaganda.
Well, because how does an incel have a girlfriend?
Thank you. And like Willie said, they kind of screwed themselves in that aspect too, Logan, because they told that whole story about the pool party, right? That remember when they told the portion about where he goes and sits down between the two girls and he just didn't get an incel wouldn't do that.
Right. You're not going to go walk up to two girls, first of all. You're not going to sit next to them. You're not going to strike up a conversation. You're not going to. My thing is Ashley Banfield not letting it rest about his thumbs up selfie when it's been said how many times, even ISP said it themselves, FBI said it themselves. No, he had lots of pictures like that in his phone, but yet she just won't give that a rest. It was confirmation that he did it in the morning. Like,
don't even get me started on Skeletor. I can't handle her. I cannot deal with her. I can't. Her voice makes me want to scratch my way through my wall. But they're all doing that though. That's another thing. Like her, she's a big one. They're still going with the fact that he cleaned his car with bleach, that his sister watched him do it. That's not true. They said that he threw his garbage in his neighbor's garbage can. That's not true.
Right. That he had gloves on. That's not true.
None of that stuff is real. None of it's true, but they're still running with this because they know if they don't, the world's going to see the truth. That's it. Yes.
The only
Bingo.
thing is a one skin cell on a sheath that is literally manufactured close to the area that he lived. You know, like Pav said in one of his videos, you know, there's people that have to manufacture the sheath itself. There's people, their hands are touching it. There's people that have to, it has to go through quality. Their hands are touching it. It has to be packaged. Their hands are touching it. How do we know it's not a descendant from a family? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't,
Right. No, that's a very good point. I never thought of that before. I
there's just
appreciate
so
you.
much to it that make it not, that it could not be him. And mainstream media and guilters need those little things like he's a weirdo, that he has a thumbs up selfie to make him look like he is a weirdo, or else they have nothing.
It's ridiculous. It truly
So
is
bad.
absolutely ridiculous. Yes. And it bothers me because I have a child. He's 19. He's autistic. Okay. And to me, when I realized that the man was diagnosed autism or ASD, whatever you want to call it, it automatically threw me into a different mode. Okay. I see now bullying. Okay.
Mhm.
I see that they're bullying a man that has autism that is different. That's why I get so, and if you ever watch me go over the stuff from WSU, I just fling left F words here, there. I just start going off because I can't handle it.
It's
Wrong.
frustrating,
It's
even when
very,
you don't have a loved one that has autism. It's frustrating.
yes, because you notice they're picking on this person because he's different.
Mhm.
Because he stands and doesn't know how to interact with you in a certain type of way, the way you think he should, or this or that. He's just different. It doesn't even make him weird, in my opinion. It just means that he lacks certain social skills, possibly, and that's not such a bad thing. Okay,
No.
obviously he's a very smart person.
Right.
It makes me wonder if some of those people were jealous because he was so smart, because he did know more. The one girl that supposedly ran out of the room crying because he stood up and said something to her because she was wrong about something. Well, he's correcting you. Okay.
Right.
Why don't
Toughen
you
up.
take it as,
Deal with
yeah,
it.
thank you. That's 100% what I said. So,
He
it's
graded
ridiculous.
so hard. He would grade the females different. Well, no, maybe just those people that felt like they were graded harder weren't as good on their papers. Deal with, like, suck it up, be an adult. That doesn't make him weird or creepy because he's grading you the way he feels you should be graded.
Yes. Yes. I think people took advantage of this situation to be able to whine, complain, and cry about things that don't even exist, in my opinion. That's
Well,
truly
it's
what I
like
think.
the whole situation where they said that he trapped a girl. He was in conversation with a female and then he trapped her from not being able to exit. My thought was, number one, he has autism. Maybe he was just so interested in the conversation and what they were talking about, he didn't want it to end. So
Yes.
his way to make the conversation continue is maybe step in front of the doorway because he liked the conversation and he wants to keep talking about whatever they were talking about. That's autism. That's
Yeah.
socially not understanding social cues. That's not being weird and creepy.
And I've said the same exact thing. The man probably doesn't get to have these conversations that he really does have that much interest in very often because people aren't that interested as he is. I got it. So when you get into that conversation, holy shit, this is what I want to do. Let's talk,
Right.
please.
Yeah.
And
He
then they're
lives
making,
alone. Why do you think he talks to his mom 24/7 and calls her at 6 in the he's probably lonely. He probably wants conversation. He finally got a decent conversation and he didn't want it to end. That's how I look at that.
I do
And
too.
they take those things and just go overboard with it. And still at the end of the day, I don't think that's any sort of evidence against him.
Not at all. No. Typically Unique's in the house today. Good to see you, Cam. As a teacher, I felt that he was giving focused, very detailed feedback. That takes a lot of time to do, and most teachers won't expend that energy. Good point. Very good point. And
that's a
that's,
good point.
and you got to wonder if some of the teachers had issues with him because he was so intelligent, and he did made some of the teachers look bad too, because he was, you're saying this, and this, but when it's actually this, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I just had to wonder that. I'm so angry about how the WSU thing has happened and how they are approaching what they're doing with him. And I don't like it at all. It really, really bothers me. Like you said, whether you have a loved one that has it or not, it's still wrong. It's bullying, in my opinion, big time. And um, they gave this poor person, this poor kid, this is how I look at it, because he's younger than me, obviously, no options, none at all, to defend himself, and it's very sad. Um, and I don't know exactly how to explain exactly the depth of what I feel about that, because I get so angry about it, then I start flipping out about it. You know what I mean? So not getting into that way, but
I feel like in this case, there's basically like 3 whole different categories. You have the victims and their lives that we have to pay attention to and learn all the details.
of course,
And then we have the crime itself that has its own details that we need to pay attention to, which has nothing, in my opinion, to do with Brian Koberger. So then we have Brian Koberger that we need to dispel all the rumors and find the facts and his life and things like that to even make him part of this case. Like,
right?
it's so weird. This is the strangest case as far as evidence and what happened and who they
Yeah,
chose to pin it on and everything. There's just so much to remember for
yeah,
everybody.
very much so, very much so. Do you have any thoughts? I'm trying to touch on a lot of different scenarios for everybody,
Yeah.
but do you have any thoughts on? Okay, so we both believe that Brian is not the one. I'll give that. Okay. Do you have any thoughts on anybody that could possibly be involved in this, in your opinion?
Yeah. Well, now that we know that one of the victims was possibly a CI, I think it makes the drug thing a larger possibility than I gave it credit before.
Right.
I do think some of the Aryan stuff, just because it's so close to the victims, you know, the roommate's boyfriend's dad was, you know,
Sure.
all that. I don't as far as like picking out one person or 3 people and saying, oh, they did it. No, I don't have that. I just at this point know the person they did pin it on is not the person.
Yeah. No, I got you. Got you 100%. Very interesting. Yes. And let's talk about that specific thing here now. The fact that it is now known or believed, or I'm sorry, or believed to be that one of the victims is a CI. That's pretty big. You know, that's really big in my opinion, as far as looking at the motive and why this happened. You know, I put together like so many things instantly when I heard that, started to like just click, 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 click. You know what I mean? Many,
You know
many
what?
things.
You know what I do when we get a new piece of information that could change the outlook of the case or the investigation, I like to go back and re-listen to certain people's interviews.
Yes.
Like you know, we get this information now. I'll go back and watch Molly's interview, and then
Yep.
I'll go back and watch you know, whatever. So I like to do that because I went back and watched, I think Birdie also played it last night, but I went back and watched the coroner's interview after I saw that there were gouges,
Yes.
different weapons used. I went back and watched her interview and I view it and hear it completely different now. The only questions that she answered with confidence and absolutes is that it was a homicide and the scene was horrific. Other than that, they asked her, was this a stabbing? She wouldn't even say, yes, this is a stabbing, which
No,
tells
she,
me because it wasn't a knife used, or there wasn't a knife used on 2 of the victims. It was a different weapon.
yes.
Or Kaylee was hit in the face with the butt of a gun. And that's why she wouldn't say, yes, it's a stabbing, because she knew there were so many other weapons. So I
Yeah.
view it differently now.
Yeah, we do the same thing because it's always good if something new drops. Almost every time something new drops, let's go back now and see this. Does you see this different? You hear this now. You hear that now. You didn't hear that before because now this makes more sense that way. And again, like what you just said with Mabbitt's interview, we watched the body cam video, and then we went back and watched her interview. She lied through the whole thing. She stated she was in the house at 5 p.m. when she got. No, she wasn't.
Right.
Catherine Mabbitt was not allowed, and this has been a big issue for me, and I've said it many, many, many times. I'm sure they're tired of hearing it, but she was not allowed to go into the house until 8:30, 9 o'clock that night.
Right.
But she was there at 12:15 in the afternoon, and they had her staged over on King Road the entire day. But they sure as hell allowed for Bill Thompson and Ashley Jennings to go in the house at 5:30 in the
They
afternoon.
sure did, didn't they?
And
When
it
have
blows
you ever heard of that?
I pulled up the Idaho law, Logan, and it says that and I'm sure I know people said this already, and I don't care though. Idaho's different. Okay, whatever, fine. But they should have allowed the coroner to go in the house to take custody of the bodies, to call it what it was. Then you allow the prosecutor to go through and do this. That's not a normal thing to do. It's just not.
No, it's not.
And
You don't let the prosecutor come in and view the scene before the dang coroner does. Medical exam, anybody like that. No. That's
right.
not
And
how it
I've been on multiple scenes. That's never
Mhm.
happened ever. Okay. Just as much as you don't hold back the forensic team for 3 or 4 days. They didn't go until the 7th. They didn't allow them to go in there till the 17th. What were they doing with that house and in that house for 4 days?
Well,
You gotta wonder.
why did no other agency or human being that walked into Maddie's room see the knife sheath? But as soon as Payne walks in there, it's
Oh.
there. But he was in there alone also.
Yes, he was. That's another good point. I'm glad you
So,
brought that up.
hmm.
What are your thoughts on this wondrous knife sheath?
Well, it looks staged. It looks new and it looks staged.
Yes.
Even the way that it's landed on the bed doesn't make sense for how it would be snapped to your belt. If it was pulled off, it wouldn't be upside down, inside out, and backwards.
Right. Right.
But
And
also, if Maddie was already deceased, then how did it get partially under her? Because she wouldn't have moved.
thank you. Thank you. And it's nowhere. It's not even where they said it was in the report.
No.
They said it was, and we went through this yesterday and kind of just to reiterate what they said. It's supposed to be in between the two girls under her Maddie's right side thigh.
Mhm.
Okay. It was on the left side of her body, on the outside of the bed,
Mhm.
down like Senior Wazowski comes in. He's a retired Baltimore City police officer. He's
Mhm.
been doing a lot of stuff too. And he said it's basically like under the shoulder or maybe mid lower back area, but nowhere near her thigh. So again,
Oh, no.
they lied.
Well,
Okay.
and how many witnesses said all the lights were on in the house?
Right.
So you mean the Brian, if they want to say it's Brian Koberger, let's say Brian Koberger dropped that big. First of all, how did it get pulled off? Second of all, let's say somehow it did. Well, the lights were on. Everybody has stated all the lights were on in the house. The DoorDasher said all the lights were on in the house. Well, that was 2 minutes before Brian Koberger supposedly pulled up. So the
Yes.
lights would have still been on in the house. And he didn't see that big ass knife sheath laying there. I mean, I feel like that's where he would have been standing to be able to attack both of them anyway.
You had
How
to
did
be.
it not fall off? How did it not? How is it just hanging off the edge? Like it just doesn't sit right with me. He would have
And-
seen it. He would have felt it.
You're right. Absolutely. And there was another report that stated that one of the forensic people, once again, 4 days later, they come in, pulled a blanket back and saw it. So
Right.
that's not at all what we saw. Okay. Not even close to what we saw. It was almost teetering on the side of the bed. Like if you'd have bumped the bed or something, it would have fallen off. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
To me, it looks, and I use this as an example all the time because I don't have a K-bar, but I have this. But to me, okay, these things don't weigh much at all. If you bump something, it's gonna fall, and it was literally looked like somebody went, that looks good, and put it right there.
Exactly. So if you're bringing a K-bar and that's your only weapon you're bringing, because that's what they want us to believe, and you have it in your sheath, when you go to walk away to put your knife back in your sheath, because you're not just going to carry it around or put it in your pocket. When you walk out those doors, you're not going to carry the knife in your hand. You're going to put it away into your sheath. So you're trying to tell me that it just wasn't there and he was like, oh, okay, cool, I'll just leave it there. No. They were already deceased. He would have gone back in and found it, gotten it, whatever.
Well, yeah, bingo. Because here's the thing. Let's say you walked in. Most people wouldn't do this. It would be attached to something, I would imagine. Okay.
Yeah.
Anytime I've ever used this, it's attached to a belt. Okay. I don't just walk around carrying it. And anybody that has this plan in mind, in my opinion, is not going to walk in like this, because now you need two hands. Okay. How are you going to control the situation with both your hands full? That's dumb. Nobody's going to sit something like this down because they know that their hands has been on this. They know that it's evidence. End of story. Anybody with any common sense to commit a crime like this is not going to do something like that. That's dumb. So again, none of that makes any sense, and they think that we are going to believe this, and it's absolutely insanely ridiculous to me that they believe that. Okay, but they don't care. So
Well, so they also say his DNA was on there and it was less than the amount of a secondary transfer amount of DNA, right? So it was so minuscule, less than if he touched somebody's hand and they touched it and got his DNA on there, less than that amount. So it's so small. But they're trying to instill in people's brains that he would have touched it then, but his fingerprints aren't on it.
No, nothing. And
Just
they also
a skin cell.
right, and they also told us, if you remember, Logan, for almost 3 full years, that is where his DNA was found. Okay. Yep. Then we get the documents that show that it was actually on the strap part here.
Yep.
Which I'm still a little bit, I'm really off put. How did you get a skin cell on the strap? I mean, I could get more of it being in that snap. That would make a little more sense to me. I'll just say that. Mm-hmm. Even though it's like the tip of a needle amount, if even that, it still doesn't make sense. But that's all they have. This man committed this crime. He killed 4 people. And that there had to be blood all over this person that did this, especially with Maddie's injuries, the way I envision this looking, standing over top of her. They said they had to, and again, trigger warning, folks, my apologies, but they said that they had to hold her sternum closed. It was wide open because she was stabbed in that aspect. Okay. There was a lot of different wounds to be able to do this. So that's a lot of blood. If the heart's still beating, it's like a sprinkler system, unfortunately. Oh, yeah. Okay. That person, in my opinion, would have to have blood all over them. I would just say that. So
covered.
Yes, absolutely. So you did that to 3 other people on top of that situation, walked out of the house, got in your car, drove home, took a shower, took a picture, went to Costco, went to the other store, went to the doctor's, went to the barber, went back to work, and you didn't take not even a speck of DNA out of that house and leave it anywhere else in the world that you've been.
Not possible.
Not even close to possible. That's
he would have had to have disassembled his vehicle and literally plunged the entire vehicle itself into a pool of bleach.
Thank you.
To get that car cleaned after that crime.
Right. Yes. And you saw that they tore his car apart down to like nothing.
Nothing.
And there was nothing. Nothing in the office. Nothing
it's
in
not
dream.
Possible.
No, it's not. And they think that we're just stop, you guys. It is what it is. Leave it alone. We know what it is. It's
no, because it does. I can't. It doesn't sit right with me, and that's not okay.
Never gonna be, because again, this could happen to you, me, anybody else in here if we allow for this to be just what it is. And that's the problem. And I'm not gonna do that. I just won't. And again, the fingerprints, there's nothing of that man showing up there. Okay. They have this tiny little pinprick of like we just said, of this DNA that's not even, in my opinion, worth even talking about. That's all. They don't have videos, and there's so many lies told. And again, all due respect to the families, but Steve making statements like, "Oh, we have him on video going another." No, you don't. Stop saying stuff like that. He's admitted to lying. He's admitted to having people tell lies, I guess, to say to run a specific narrative. They've done a lot of that, you guys. And it's why are you doing this? Explain that to me now. Why would you want that to be like the only answer? If it was my child, and God bless anybody that's ever gone through this, it's horrible, guys. It really is. And I would never want anybody to go through this. And again, I'm saying this in all due respect. Why would you not want the absolute nothing but and total truth on what happened to your child? That's what I don't understand with that.
I don't either. Here's what I can't wrap my head around, and I could be wrong about this, but I just can't get my brain to make it work. So you have this knife sheath and you choose to swab a random spot on the sheath. I'm sure they swabbed the whole sheath or whatever, but So you swab this random place on a sheath that you can't see anything on it, and you choose to test that, but not the actual blood you have at the crime scene from males that don't belong in the house, that don't live in the house. You choose to test the sheath that had nothing on it rather than the blood that you can actually see and doesn't belong in that house.
Right. And you went to the next topic I was going to head to is what are your thoughts? Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? The DNA that they refuse to test.
I think that they probably did test it and they probably do know who it is. And they're just,
yes,
they can't have it be them because of their retaliation, whoever they are, whatever it is, whatever reason they have. Well, or maybe who it is or whatever.
It makes you wonder now too, though, now that we know that there's a CI involved. And let me ask you this, and you don't have to answer it if you're not comfortable with it. Do you have any thoughts into, because I was going to ask that before, but again, gotta love ADHD. Any thoughts as to who the CI could be? Just at a whim.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I thought on it. I'm not 100% sure yet who I think it is or why they would have become a CI. Because I'm trying to think of reasons why they would have needed to become a CI. Either it's Kaylee because she was into crime.
Yeah.
She was really into true crime, and she's called the police to give tips. She thought she saw a woman in Walmart that was missing, things like that. She called that tip in. She might have been, or it could have been Xana maybe her and Ethan being caught with drugs and not wanting to go to jail. So said, hey, yeah, I'll tell on whoever I get it from. Whoever I get it from or whatever. So I feel like it could be either one of them. I'm just not sure.
And see, I went that good answer. Very good answer. I automatically went to Kaylee right away because of so many other things about Kaylee made a lot of sense immediately. First off, what you said was with her being into true crime, she called in, did that whole thing with that woman, so on and so forth. Maybe somebody said to her, hey, you're good at this. Maybe you should get in. And ding, 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 light bulb goes off, so on and so forth. Because not all informants, folks, not all informants are people that got in trouble. They become informants sometimes because they do get paid. Some of them get paid, okay?
Right.
The ones that get in trouble do it because it gets them out of trouble. They don't get paid. They get out of trouble, period.
Their payment is not going to jail.
Yeah, people like Molly McMichaels and stuff like that, informant because of that situation. I'll say that. But this, if she was, it could have been because she was interested in doing that. Maybe she wanted to do that. You know what I mean? And it's interesting because I also thought if she was the one, what if she was informing on somebody else that lived within that house? Okay.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And it makes me wonder, was the white car speeding away from the scene while Molly McMichael was that informed, a scheduled by, whatever they call it, where
coordinated buys, right?
Yeah.
Good point. I think we said that. I think I talked about that before, but yeah, very good point. Real quick, excuse me. Sorry. Moto Man, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that. I believe the CI was Bethany. They were discussing how to shield her from being seen as a witness at trial. Just go back to the hearings. Also, they got her out of Idaho in an instance. Good point. That is a good point, and thank you for that, brother. I appreciate you very much, as always. Very good point. And see, that was one of the reasons why I was looking at Kaylee, too, in the beginning, or when we first heard it, because she was going on a backpacking trip through Europe. That's out of state, out of country, out of mind. Was she going to be informing on something big? Was she getting ready to, were they getting ready to draw? And there were two parallel investigations going on around this area, from my understanding, between the FBI and the DEA going on. Was that something she had an involvement in too? And then they allowed for a student informant to be killed. Hence the cover up, in my opinion. Okay. Big problem, big problem because again, I don't know if you knew this, there was a relationship and a contract between Moscow police and the University of Idaho. They were working together because they had put out, I believe it was like 7 police officers working and checking in within the sororities and fraternities because of the things that were going on. And each officer had a informant within that organization. Okay. So you got to wonder if that was something that could have been a problem. All three of those girls left their sororities very recently.
Mhm.
Did somebody catch on to, hey, she's a snitch? Okay. And then she takes off and didn't really want to come back. But Dylan goes, and then I say this because this is how I feel, lured her back to go to a dance they didn't even go to. And I wonder if somebody put Dylan up to, you need to get her back here. You need to get her back here. We need to deal with something. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that point to Kaylee, but there's what Moto just said could make sense too. Bethany was disappeared. Okay. And I almost feel, I've said too, that I think Bethany was going to leave that morning, Logan. When she walks out, when Nunez gets there, you see her standing by the telephone pole. She's waiting on Jenna McClure to show up, which she showed up right ahead of the PD, turned around. He goes in, then they come walking over, and he says, nobody's leaving. I think Jenna was coming to take her out of there. I think she called her parents that morning, and her dad or mom, whoever, may have said, you need to get the hell out of Dodge. Okay. And I think she was leaving until they stopped her.
Because on the 911 call, Dylan says, come on, Bethany, we have to go check. And she says, I don't want to. And Dylan says, but we have to.
Yep.
Bethany's like, I don't want shit to do with this.
No, I agree with you full. And again, I feel like Dylan right there, and I still feel like Dylan was directed to do everything she did in some aspect, was told, you need to set this narrative now. You need to make this known now. You need to start this story going at this point. Pretty much at 4 a.m., she kept trying to tell this story. She runs over to Jack Decor in all theatrics, because I think that was fake.
Yeah.
You know, this is what is freaking out. All of it. She's pushing that narrative from the moment that police are involved in this, nonstop, telling the stories like crazy after another, and doesn't miss a beat. Logan does not miss a beat, but she was so drunk and didn't remember. And you know, I don't know if my brain made this up so that I would not. I mean, the things she said were unbelievable to me. I don't believe her. Not a word she said. Okay.
I don't either.
It's just and then everything that falls into play with that points to, this is nothing but bullshit. Sorry. Truly and honestly. Let me see.
Well,
here.
it's simple things like prosecution gave her jacket, the green and pink jacket, and then her nightstand back. And Ann Taylor says, no, that's evidence and I need it. So suddenly Dylan and her mom say, well, we've never seen this pink and green jacket before. Well, now we see it in the pictures and it's literally there on top, sitting on top. Like, and then one of the officers, when I might have been Blaker, I'm not even sure, gets it back, douses it in Blue Star.
To destroy the evidence on it.
To destroy it.
Yeah.
Who nobody told him to do that. He took it upon himself to purposely just like, it's just little things like that, you know, connect everything and say, okay, well, these people. So it's almost like, I feel like the officers didn't push Dylan into an interrogation or even look at her like that, because they knew it was all like set up. Yeah. And, you know,
of course. Yes, no, that makes perfect sense. And again, like you said, when we saw that jacket, where it was, first off, and mind you, down in that room that had nothing, that was so weird. But what you did, I think, in my opinion, based on all the documents and everything I've seen, Blaker was more of the lead detective in this. I think that Payne was just a face, because he was a yes man, did what he was told, so on and so forth. But Blaker was the one that did all the work on this, guys. If you look into it, his name is on everything that we've seen. Dustin Blaker is there.
I mean, Blaker was sure worried about the blood on that jacket. So he took it upon himself to go get it himself and then destroy it.
Bingo.
And then suddenly the fridge is destroyed with all the DNA in it. That DNA didn't even need to be in a fridge.
No. And then, oh, don't forget the fire. There was a fire too. That happened too, that destroyed a bunch of different things. So all these things, come on.
Well, and then I found out, I know this one's kind of off topic, but I found out last night that Did you know a year after this incident, the coroner, Mabbitt's son, was found dead in a
Yes.
hotel?
Yes, I did. I
I
did.
just learned that recently.
Yeah, I found that about 2-3 months ago. And you know what? You're saying off topic, but is it really?
Right.
Is it
It's like
really?
all of this stuff is intertwined, and it's if you think about it, Moscow is a very small town. They have like 30,000 people in the town. To me, that's pretty small.
It's very
Um,
small.
and
Yeah,
for everyone to say nothing happens in Moscow, no, you guys have a whole shit ton more going on in that teeny tiny ass town than I do in my town that has 10 times the amount of people.
right. And here's the thing. They can say that because they don't take reports. So if there's no report, there's no crime. They want to keep that persona going, but it's not true, obviously, folks. We've looked into it. We know it.
Well,
So,
you know what they do in my town is they list everything as a medical assist.
yes.
So it's not, yeah, it's
Yeah,
not a gunshot. It's not a
no,
murder. It's a medical assist.
that's interesting. And like what they do in Moscow is it's either a suicide or drug overdose. You got to be kidding me. Come on.
Right.
No, and it made me wonder when I found that out about Mabbitt. She's a professional, she's an attorney, she's a
Mhm.
coroner. Did
She's
she
the
say,
mailman, she's the dog
yeah,
walker, she's the yep.
everything? So did she say at some point, like, I gotta be honest here, and I want to be honest. This is my career, blah blah blah. And somebody said, really? Okay, you can be honest, and we'll show you what happens when you're honest.
Mhm. Which is why in her first interview, you could tell she was very, very uncomfortable, and she would not give on certain questions, like when they said, "Was this a stabbing?" She said, well," and wouldn't specifically say, "Yes, they were stabbed." Why? Because there were other weapons used, and she didn't feel comfortable. So she did the interview, and she skated around everything, and you can tell when she's comfortable asking a question because she's very direct with the answer.
Yeah,
It's wild.
and her eyes. I've watched her interview probably 17 times. Her eyes, the way she looks at people, there's like almost like a fear in her face. Like,
Yeah.
can I say this?
Yeah. Like, I don't
Or-
know how to answer this because I don't want to lie, but I don't want to be part of it.
Right.
Yep. There's so much in this case. So much.
Agreed. Agreed. Sorry, my granddaughter just ran through here. My apologies.
Oh, yeah, good.
Let me see here. Where was all right, guys, let me put it this way. Is there any specific questions you guys have for Logan yourselves? And go ahead and throw them in the chat, guys. I'm trying to organize this. I know we've been through a whole lot really quick, but I was trying to get in as much as I could in the short. I don't like to, when I have a guest, I don't like to take it over 2 hours because I know you guys have lives and you have your own stuff to do. Me, myself, I'll sit in here for 5-6 hours. It doesn't matter. But when I have one of you guys on, I don't want to drag you through it too long. So,
Oh, no, I'm fine. I do have to pee, but that's about it.
actually, if you don't mind, can we take a quick break so I can get more coffee and you can use the bathroom?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do when you want to do like 5 minutes or something.
Sounds
5
good to me.
minutes, whatever.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, guys, hang on to the rope. We'll be right back here, guys. And we'll get into a little bit more of this. All right, go ahead.
Fiction for the front row seat. Day after day, same story, same spin. You dress up the rumor like it's evidence, then grin. You point at a case, say, look at that man. But you don't got a screenshot, don't got a plan. You talk about a white car like it's some smoking gun. But every single detail falls apart, one by one. Stop pushing the lies. Goofy gray, every word you throw. Someone pays, we gotta get the truth before another one dies. Fog lights on, we cutting through your disguise. every channel, every day. You shout, I got proof, but your pockets stay bare. Just echo in the alley, just dust in the air. Just another idiot, storytelling every day. You build crooked houses out of things you can't say. You sell loaded rumors like they're holy signs, while family sits shaking on the other side of the line. Stop pushing the lies, goofy gray. Every word you throw, someone pays. We gotta get the truth before another one dies. Fog lights on, we cutting through your disguise. Stop pushing the lies, goofy gray. How many names gotta fade off the page while you chase fake ghosts in the secondhand rage? We want hard facts, not your costume show. Turn the cameras to the damage, let the real story glow. Let the real story glow. Stop pushing the lies, goofy gray. Every word you throw, someone pays. We gotta get the truth before another one dies. Fog lights on, we cutting through your disguise. Stop pushing the lies, goofy gray. Standing on the sidelines, lying on repeat. Little campfire fiction for the front row seat. Day after day, same story, same spin. You dress up the rumor like it's evidence, then grin. You point at a case, say look at that man, but you don't got a screenshot, don't got a plan. You talk about a white car like it's some smoking gun, but every single detail falls apart one by one. Stop pushing the lies, goofy gray. Every word you throw, someone pays. We gotta get the truth before another one dies. Fog lights on, we cutting through your disguise. Stop pushing the lies, goofy gray. Fog lights blazing, you still mumble in the haze. Goofy gray static, every channel, every day. Yeah, roll call missing. Dago the sauce boss, clock on the wall, still ticking. Blue crew posted in the bag, a whole room. Listen. True crime cafe, coffee, black eyes, red files on the table, cold cases, cold dread, seeking the truth. Ink stains on his hand, pics on the cardboard, string lines, map land, busting these cases, long nights, tight grind. Everything will be fine. He repeat that line, blue crew backs him, keep them on track, one step from the edge, they pulling them back. True crime cafe, with they go to sauce boss, seeking the truth, pay the real cost, gotta find answers, gotta make time, busting these cases, walking that line. True crime cafe, with they go to sauce boss, hoping he can answer just a few. Yo, true crime cafe, with they go to sauce boss, say it with your chest, this the true talk. Solving the bullshit, lies in the booth, paper plates, cheap meals, chasing down proof, praying real quiet, hands on his face, fighting for the next meal. In another cold case, street talk, tip line, voices on mute, he dig through the dirt, searching for a root, true justice, distant, like a changed address, but he still take notes, never half step. True crime cafe, when they go to sauce boss, seeking the truth, pay the real cost, gotta find answers, gotta make time, busting these cases, walking that line. True crime cafe, when they go to sauce boss, seeking he can answer just a few.
All right. Got everything handled.
Oh yeah. If you don't mind me asking, why do you think they tore down the house just to turn around and make a replica of it?
Good question. I think that they wanted that house gone, period, like as fast as it could be. I think partially Scott Green, and I think there was things in that house that they didn't want people to have any kind of access to.
Yeah.
That's
I think it
personally,
comes twofold. I think it's the same thing. I think that they didn't want the public to have access to it for somebody to break in that
yep.
is,
And
you know,
maybe
a
find
technical
something.
pro
Yeah,
burger to break in and be like, see, guys, look, this. And they didn't want the jury to go in there either.
bingo. Yeah, yeah. That was my next statement actually. When you 100% that if the jury goes in there, because initially, if you remember, like the whole story, I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear this. I didn't hear that. I didn't hear, which is all changed now. But I heard somebody say it's okay. Don't worry, I'm here to help you, which was absolutely hilariously one specific line out of the Vampire Diaries episode that blew my mind. But yeah, but all of that, every bit of that, like I think that if the jury went in there, they could hear that. First off, I don't know if you saw that TikTok video, like how bad that house echoes and how you can hear everything in that house. It's I mean, everything. And then Dylan herself screwed up and said, you can hear everything in here,
Mhm.
So there's that. That's one big thing, because the jury would say, how did you not hear this? How did you not hear what everything? Like, and I believe they did. I believe they heard probably every conversation that was had, every bit of screaming, slamming, banging, anything, running, whatever it was, they heard it all. Okay, both of them, in my opinion. Probably Dylan more than Bethany, but I think they both knew and heard everything. And again, I think there's things that were in that house that maybe shouldn't have been seen by the jury either, that would have told a different story, if that makes sense. So
If you notice, Dylan initially said that when Kaylee and Maddie got home, they were sitting on the couch in the living room, and she knew because she heard their conversation they were having in the living room. So you can hear their conversation in the living room, but you couldn't hear Kaylee being attacked right outside your door.
lie.
And
Agreed.
also, Dylan said that when everybody got home, they were upstairs in Maddie's room when Kaylee was getting ready for bed. Why would Dylan say she knew it was Kaylee running back down the stairs because she heard her Doc Martens, when A, Kaylee wasn't wearing Doc Martens, and B, you were just upstairs with her watching her get ready for bed, so you knew she didn't have shoes on.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah. First off,
why I think they staged the Doc Martens in the living room, because those are so out of place to me.
completely out of place. Completely out of place. By the way, for those of you that were asking, those songs that you guys were hearing in the break, those I created those. The intro song and the outro song, my videographer Molly Drake, she made those. She has a channel that she put all her stuff on as well. But the little weird songs that are coming through, because I get bored sometimes, I make those for entertainment purposes, for breaks and the beginning and stuff like that, for those of you that were asking. But yes, the doc, Kaylee had on white tennis shoes at the grub truck, folks. She came home wearing the same shoes. And if anything, like Logan just said, she took her shoes off. Okay. And if she didn't, that's what she was wearing. She wasn't wearing boots. If Dylan's even remotely telling the truth, what she heard was the perpetrator's boots. Okay. Because there were boot prints in the Amito Black stuff, the blood. There was different little prints you could see throughout different places, in my opinion. Not to mention, if you want to take into account the prints in the backyard, which I still question those, because those could have been made by law enforcement, or those could have been there for a week. We don't know.
Right.
Mostly, very definitely could have been from law enforcement, because they destroyed the scene. And I think that was done on purpose too. They, for 4 days, walked all over that house before forensics came in and tested anything. They moved. That's another thing I was going to bring up to you and ask you. They moved everything.
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to touch anything at a crime scene until forensics does its job, until the coroner comes in and calls what it is and takes custody. They did it all. Everything they did was illegal, in my opinion. Okay. They moved the beds out. They moved furniture around. They did this, they did that, to where when forensics came in, they had to move things back to as close as they could get it to. What are you doing?
Right.
And how did that, that's my question to you, Logan, is how did that alone not get this case tossed?
I have no idea. what I don't understand is, I don't know if you've seen the show. I think it's called like Crime 360 or something, where they set up a video camera in the middle of the room and it takes a
Yeah.
360 view and they can literally recreate a crime scene. I mean, this has been going on for like 2 decades.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you're trying to tell me that they couldn't recreate this crime scene in some form or fashion to get at least close to it? That whole house tells the story. The blood tells the story, where it's at, whose it is, the direction the tails are on the spatter, all of that. Kaylee was missing a sock. Where was that other sock? Did you guys even go look for it? Because if it was the sock in the living room, then clearly she got attacked in the living room. And that tells the story right there. Why didn't they do that?
Yep.
They didn't have to. They already knew what happened.
They knew what happened. Yes, ma'am. I agree with you full-heartedly. And then again, like you were saying, because I didn't get to fully answer that question about the house being torn down. And then they make that model that only had 2 rooms in it. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, I've said this before, the entire house is a crime scene, folks, not just those 2 bedrooms. The whole house, as we saw. The kitchen, I believe something happened in big. I think something big happened in the kitchen, in my opinion, okay? The hallway, the living room area where the pong table's at, the bar cart, the downstairs going to the 1st floor, going up to the 3rd floor, the landing there. All of it, the whole house is a crime scene. So why did you only create 2 rooms? I'm sorry, but that's complete and total narrative driving is all they're doing.
Misleading, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yes. Yes,
Well,
and go ahead.
Did you know that when the HVAC people came, so the HVAC people came in and it's just on the 1st floor, right? You walk in and you go straight ahead to where the furnace and all that is.
Right.
They made the HVAC people sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. Well, why would you need to do that unless there would have been evidence on the 1st floor that you would have seen? Because
You're serious.
Yeah. They
Oh
made
my-
the HVAC people sign an NDA.
There it is right there, guys. That'll tell you right now. That tells you right now that to have somebody sign an NDA, and I've never seen it, never heard that before. That just blew my mind. Poof. Okay. And here it probably says you cannot, nor will you talk about what you've seen inside this house or what things are going on here. So that says it right there. That's crazy, Logan.
Yep. I read that. It's in the documents. I read it in something that was released by the police, whether
Sure.
it was ISP or Moscow. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and find it now. But yep, I read it in the documents. They made them sign an NDA.
That is truly insane to
And
me.
HVAC came in on the 2nd day or the 3rd day, whichever it was. So how did you know then that this case was going to be this big and drag on this long and have the public this interested in it for this long to even need to sign an NDA?
Because they knew what they were going to be doing.
Yep.
Okay. And they knew the reaction it was going to cause, in my opinion, of course. Wow. That just blew my mind.
Yep.
That's crazy to me.
That's a wild part to it. That stuck with me as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
That's going to be stuck in my head now. I can't get past. I'll be talking about that tonight, probably.
And I looked it up and stuff, and they said, usually in a state crime that's, like a local crime type thing, they don't have a HVAC person sign an NDA. Usually it's when it's a famous person that passes strangely or whatever. But in this case, it would have been kind of a weird thing to do.
It truly is weird. Yeah. That's strange as hell. And it tells me you cannot talk about anything you've seen here. And yes, Tomboy, that's what I'm saying. HVAC was there before forensics even came in the house. That is a problem. That's a huge problem. Those things alone should have this case thrown out.
Yep.
That's why I think they hurried up and ran with this whole plea deal thing, forced this, did that so that they could get him there. And now they know it's going to be hard to roll this now. But there again, if there is new evidence that pops up, that in itself is something that can flip this if it happens. That's the only way, besides like habeas corpus and the other things that they're going to do. But that just blew my mind. I can't stop thinking about that now. Damn.
Yep, that part is wild.
Wow. I'm trying to like process what you said now and think about a couple other things that came out earlier on about the HVAC guys then too.
I mean, they tried to tell us that, nothing happened on the first floor. None of the perpetrators, let's say it's Brian Koberger, that he didn't go to the first floor. So what would have been on the first floor that the HVAC people would have needed to keep their mouth shut about?
Right. Very good point.
Because they said that the HVAC didn't go. It's not like they went all throughout the house. They were just on the first floor.
Probably where the furnace was, in that locked room. Yeah.
Yeah.
To keep the furnace moving, because they wanted they got to keep the heat running in the house. Otherwise it's going to freeze and all sorts of problems will happen. But yeah, I wonder if they found something in the vents. I mean, at this point, Moto, nothing would surprise me, bro. After what I just heard, nothing at all.
And then you go back and think of the pictures they took specifically of the vents. Remember the first pictures were released? They took really close-up pictures of the vents.
Yep. See? Yes. And that just reminded me of something else that somebody said in here too. Now, going back to that whole CI thing where we said it, who do we think this and that, and why I thought it was Kaylee. You guys remember when the LinkedIn went down? I think it was LinkedIn. Yeah, that was Kaylee's LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It went down and then it was back up.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing. Maybe that makes me wonder if that could be another reason why that went down, is they had to check it to make sure there was nothing in there. There was a lot of reasons that made me believe that this could be Kaylee, is what my problem is. And these things are coming to me left and right as we're sitting here talking. That was one of the big ones. The fact that she told, I think it was Dylan. I can't remember if it was Dylan or Bethany that did the interview, that said that she told them that she was looking into local RSOs in the area for her job. That's what she told them. That doesn't mean that's what she's doing. If she's looking into RSOs, it may have been maybe it is for her job, but not the job you think it is. I wondered if that had anything to do with it, possibly as well. There's so many things, you guys, my mind is flooded right now, and it just keeps coming. The sock is in Maddie's bed. Oh, okay. I didn't see that, SoCal. Sorry. Go ahead, Logan.
I didn't see it in Maddie's bed either. That could very well be true. I didn't know where it was. But if you remember as well, Kaylee was going to move to Texas for her job. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly she wasn't going anymore.
Yep.
And my thought was she not going because now suddenly she's informing on a really big case that she has to stay for?
That she couldn't leave because she was going to have to testify or something. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
Because nobody could figure out why suddenly she changed her mind.
Right. If that's true, because I think it's Bethany that stated that, well, I think she's changed her mind. She's not going anymore. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who said that Dylan talked or went to see Christy, her mother? Christy said that blatantly, twice, actually. She said that Dylan, I believe she called her first and maybe didn't get the response she wanted, or didn't get a response. And Dylan drove to where she was, which wasn't at the Gonsalves household. It was at her aunt's house. Kaylee was kind of estranged from her parents for a period of time, and wasn't talking to them. So she went to her aunt's house, had the discussion with her, and at some point finally decided, after tossing it around, to come back. Said she was going to show Maddie the new car, blah, 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 which is another reason, Logan, why I wonder if it was her, if that's why she didn't want to come back. Okay. If she was staying away from Moscow because, you know what I mean?
That's possible. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons why this looked like it could be her to me. That's why I struggle with this. Oh my God. Again, the HVAC thing is blowing my mind still. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. I wonder who else they had signing NDAs. Probably the security guard. Anybody that's been around that house has probably had to do something like that. And you don't do that in a no, that's not normal, you guys. That's wild. Mm-hmm. So let me look back here. I did have, and I skipped this earlier because something else grabbed my attention again. ADHD strikes again. Oh, Jack Decor. Do you have any specific thoughts on or about Jack Decor?
Initially in the very beginning, that picture came out of the celebration of life and him giving Christy a hug and looking at Steve, and that always stuck with me as the look he's giving him is like, do you know anything about me? Like, do you know what I was involved in? Do you know what I saw? Do you know what I did? It was just a weird look, interaction. So that always stuck with me. And then we get the body cam of him sitting in the back of the police car.
And then we find out that he was the number one suspect.
Yeah, and he's the number one suspect, and he's sitting in the back of the police car. And when they go to talk to him, it's like he's nervous, but like purposefully calm.
Right.
His behavior was just a little off to me, because I would think that if that was your significant other or you guys were talking about getting back together, I mean, why didn't he say, I talked to her for 17 minutes at 4:00 this morning or 3:00 this morning or whatever it was, because they had a 17-minute phone call, whether they talked or it was a pocket dial, which it doesn't seem like it was a pocket dial. Why didn't he say that?
He denied it completely.
At this time I was talking to her, so she was still alive. That, they would have been, as a significant other or somebody who loved somebody, they would have been freaking the heck out. And he was sitting back there like, can you tell me what's going on? Can you tell me what's going on? I'm sure you know what's going on.
It's almost like he's like digging. Do you know what's going on? Do you know who did this? Is it, like, do you think I did this? Things like that. That's what I was taking that as. Yeah.
It's weird behavior.
And he stayed away from, if you notice too, that kind of bothered me too. Like he allowed Dylan to run up to him and pull her whole thing. And he just didn't respond at all. He just stood there and stared at her.
Right. A normal person would be like, what?
Yeah.
What just happened? Kaylee's in there? Yeah.
100%. And then when he walks, he stayed away from them. He didn't associate with them. He didn't seem like he wanted to associate with them. He was like, no, I'll stay in the car. It's fine. That's weird to me. I'm sorry. If you didn't know truly what happened and they're not telling you, I would have walked back over to that group of their roommates and friends and said, what the hell happened here? He didn't even bother with that, you guys. That's insane to me.
Well, my question is, when he was sitting in the cop car, what radio chatter could he hear?
Yes. And that's maybe why he wanted to stay in the car. I believe that. Yes. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. There's always been something about Jack Decor that bothered me. And then for a while it didn't. And then it did again. Something about him was just uncomfortable to me. Very much so. Very much uncomfortable to me. Let's see. Okay, guys, with your questions now, I said we would do that. Go ahead and formulate your questions for Miss Logan, if you will, please. He didn't even bother to get to Murphy. Well, that was a whole other thing with Murphy and him. That was so weird to me, too.
That bothered me. It still bothers me to this day. When Murphy came out, now, and I understand there's humans inside, and maybe I'm different because I like animals more than I like people. But when they brought Murphy outside, even Jack said, I'm not worried about the dog right now. Wait, you didn't even ask if your dog was okay?
No, he didn't.
I'm not worried about the dog right now.
Yeah, very weird. Very weird. Angel says Jack D acted very different when in patrol car. He was not acting normal. Good point. Did they ever interview anyone from the axe throwing tournament? I don't know. They could have within some of the documents or the reports that we read, but of course, because everything was redacted, I don't know design. I don't know.
So speaking of the axe tournament and stuff, I do find it very interesting that there was an axe throwing tournament that night.
Yeah.
And the reason I now find that so strange is because I'm not sure if you saw, but the other day I did an experiment because I saw what looked like on Xana's bed where a perpetrator went to swing at her and missed and hit the bed. And to me, it definitely doesn't look like a knife. So I did an experiment and I went and stabbed a mattress with a 7-inch blade, and it did not look even close to remotely the same type of weapon. So that the fact there was an axe throwing tournament, and then we've got Kopaka, the hatchet stuck in his wall in his room, and that's about the only thing in his room, is strange to me as well.
It was we just did a thing over with devil's advocates where he got all the Kopaka files, everything supposedly
Mhm.
unredacted, but not really. And yeah, we both questioned that axe in the wall, like what the hell, that's the type of hatchet you would be throwing at an axe throwing competition too, almost identical. So it's
Yep.
very weird. It's very weird. So I did hear about the mattress experiment. You have it on your live.
Yeah. I'm not yeah.
Oh,
Actually it's in my latest I think it's in my latest pre-recorded video too.
video. What do you know what it's titled? I'd
Um
love to show them real quick.
it should be the latest pre-recorded. I think it says like Silent Streets and the Weapon.
I found it right there. Yes, ma'am. You don't mind me doing this, do you?
No, not at all. I
Great.
think it's interesting because to me, in my opinion, that shows that a different weapon was used on the second floor as well. There is a knife used for sure
Yeah.
because we can see it in that awful picture of Xana. We can
Yes.
see 2 stab wounds through her shirt, and that to me looks like a
Yeah.
knife.
On the yes, absolutely. And there's a little there's the big gouge in the side of the mattress, and there's this tinier, like a smaller, what looks like a little stab mark next to it, a little bit further ahead. So yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me see where this is. Here we go. And you can let me know where you want me to go with this. But yes, check this out, you guys. Again, I love that you do the experimentation and stuff like that with the hands-on thing. It's amazing. Absolutely. All right, let's see here.
Taken out of both the sheet and the mattress in Xana's room. And I wanted to see if maybe it was a perpetrator trying to swing at one of the victims and missing and hitting the bed. We all know Xana was down in that little corner over there in between the bed and the nightstand fighting for her absolute life. And it looks to me like a perpetrator went to swing and missed her and got the bed instead. What's interesting to me is if you all remember what the coroner, Mabbitt, said about the victim's injuries.
She says, "Sir, I don't think stabs is the right word. It was like tears, like this was a strong weapon, not like a stab." She said these things were big open gouges. She said it was quick. These weren't something where you were going to be able to call 911. They were not going to slowly bleed out.
Now I'm going to stop that there, guys. And I'm going to take us back to March or April of 2023. I did a show and I pulled out. I live in a very rural area, as we all know, and I have many different types of weird things here. Okay. And I have machete, two of them actually. And I pulled that out and I said, I got to wonder, after hearing what Logan just played right there for you guys, because Steve Gonsalves himself said the same thing about the large gouges. They weren't like stab wounds, things like that. If a machete could have been used, and it would keep you at a distance and be able to attack somebody, not having to be right on top of them still. And it would explain the possibility of the backside wounds and injuries on Kaylee, the severing of her liver and stuff, because it's such a long blade. I showed it then. I don't have it with me right now, but this is interesting because it plays into this. If you look at the gouge on the side of the mattress, it starts to make me wonder again. It would make more sense. So I'll go ahead and play, but I just wanted to remind you guys that we're here for that, about me bringing up the machete situation or as one of the possible alternative weapons that were used in this, as we all know that there were.
Do you remember the TikTok they made where they were playing Fruit Ninja?
Yes, I do.
The black looking machete they had in that. Whose weapon was that and where did that go?
Thank you. And it seems like typically unique. Miss Kim, she said that they're involved in the machete culture there, because they seem to have lots of different photographs with big, large knives, machetes, doing that whole thing, all that kind of stuff. And right, who did it belong to? Where is it now? Is it in that house? Did somebody see it, grab it, and use it? Or is it somebody that already had it and they were in that house at the same time? Just saying.
Right.
Great point.
The gouge taken out of Xana's bed, in my opinion, looks to be more like it's from a hatchet type weapon rather than a 7-inch blade. As you can see the comparison here, on the right is the mattress that I stabbed, and on the left is from Xana's room.
And I couldn't help but remember what I saw stuck in the wall at Brent Kopacka's apartment when he was being swatted and eventually unalived. Now, I'm not saying Kopacka was there, but I believe that the weapon used in this instance was something more like a hatchet, an axe type weapon, or something along those lines rather than a K-bar. In my opinion, there was 3 weapons that were brought to the crime scene and used on the victims. Upstairs on the 3rd floor, I believe there was a knife used, but also a pew-pew.
They thought it was a firecracker. Okay, so it could have been a pistol involved. Okay, so it could have been a pistol involved. Okay, so it could have been a pistol involved. Start the search warrant right now. Okay.
That being said, I'm going to go back to something we talked about earlier. I didn't know your thoughts on that because I haven't seen this yet, but I'm glad I'm seeing it now. When we went through the initial generic autopsy results they gave us, they talked about an intracranial fracture on Kaylee. Now, I know from personal experience being in EMS and stuff like that, what I've seen. And I told them, I said, something that makes me wonder is if you were possibly, again, trigger warning, shot in the face, let's say, okay? And a bullet were to get inside your cranial cavity, it would bounce around inside, possibly, and it could cause the intracranial fractures, okay? So I wondered, and we've been looking into the whole pew-pew. I hate the gun. I hate saying pew-pew. I'm sorry.
I do too. It feels weird when you say it.
The gun scenario possibility because of Bethany's firecracker statement, the flash statement, and Bethany very, very described when they asked her in her interview, what did that flash look like? Was it this, that? She said it looked like fire. Okay. It was orange. Well, a stun gun doesn't do that. Firecracker could do that. But again, so does muzzle flash, folks, from a gun, period. Okay. And it just really, and there's one part in this, one of these body cams, I can't remember which one it was, where they talk about looking for shell casings as well. Now, that could be standard protocol, but is it really when you're looking at what you believe to be 4 victims that every one of them has nothing on them that you can visually see except for what looks like stab wounds, okay?
Right.
Why are you mentioning shell casings at all? That's all I'm saying. So there again, welcome, Karmic. Good to see you, dear. Once again, just one more little tiny clue and hint as to, and again, guys, I said this before. For 4 years, I've said this. 3 years now, I've said this. There's 4 people here and 2 others that survived this. You're not going to subdue people by saying, don't move, I have a knife.
Right.
People will run. They will run. Okay? End of story. But if you have a gun in your hand, they're not going to move. People will freeze where they're at because they don't want you to use that gun. So again, just thought, folks, just thought. Again,
Well,
I promise. Go ahead.
If you zoom in on the warrant that they have, and I'm sure you can just read the warrant as well, like online, but I just zoomed in on the warrant they have sitting on the first step in the house. And it's on like number 2. It's all like what we're looking for here, evidence of, and it's all language of guns. And then you have knife in there once. But everything is firearms, ammunition. So, and those were all before the knife was listed.
Right.
So
And
initially, something told you that there were guns in this house or a gun in this house.
at some point, yes, ma'am. And why did Ann Taylor bring in a ballistics expert?
Right.
That's all you got to say, guys. You're not going to bring in my opinion, at least from what I understand about this kind of stuff, I'm not going to bring in a ballistics expert to talk about a knife. Just
Right.
not. Sorry. All right, on we go with this.
And then the last calls for you, this is the timestamp right after it happens. So at 4:21, 4:22, 4:30, she made these phone calls immediately after the bang. Immediately after the bang. Immediately after the bang.
And down on the second floor, I believe there was a knife used and also a hatchet-like weapon. What I find extremely interesting in all of the photos and in this case in general is there was no blood transfer between the second floor victims and the third floor victims. We have a mixture of Kaylee and Maddie's red fluid. And obviously in Xana's room, we see a horrific crime scene and the mixture of Ethan and Xana. However, from victim to victim, there was no red fluid transfer. So if they want us to believe that this was a lone incel with one K-bar that committed each one of these unalivings, then there would be transfer from the first victim to the second victim. There would be transfer red fluid from the first two victims to the third victim, and so on. But we don't see that. We don't see red fluid transfer from Ethan and Xana up to Kaylee and Maddie, and we don't see it vice versa either, which tells me different weapons were used by different perpetrators. I want you to take a look at some of the vehicles that drove in the area that night.
That's about
Basically,
it for that
every
video.
vehicle that came into the neighborhood, and that was
Sorry about that. Say that again.
That's about it. In this video, I start talking about other stuff that does.
Gotcha. Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
No, that's fine.
But very, very interesting. And I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad you did that. Yeah, that definitely could be. Your dog is so adorable. I love her.
He's so good.
He. I do that all the time. I can't tell sometimes. But yeah, he's so sweet. He always just lays there and does his
He
thing.
is.
Good boy.
He's so sweet.
The hatchet thing, very possible. Again, like I said, I definitely don't believe that a 7-inch K-bar knife did all of that
No.
by any means whatsoever. You can't make me believe that. It just doesn't make sense. So I'm glad to see you're doing the hands-on experimental stuff. I should probably do some of that myself. I've done a lot of that kind of stuff via the computer, but I've never actually done that, and that's a great idea. So what was your feelings after the fact? You did believe that it could have been possibly a hatchet that was used at that point then too?
Yeah, well, to me, it was just very clear. As soon as I stabbed it and pulled the knife out of the mattress, I was like, oh, that's not what I saw on Xana's mattress at all. And then it just made me think of Mabbit saying they were gouges, and she would not agree to it being stabbings by a knife.
No. And that's why I thought immediately like machete, because when I saw that now, even more now, if you were to miss, like you said, you hit that and then it gets stuck. You're twisting and turning, you're trying to pull it back out. It's going to open it up. And the blade on a machete is about that wide, about that long.
Mm-hmm.
Would make
Yeah,
sense.
it's very possible.
Very
But
much.
it's definitely something sharp that's much bigger than a K-bar.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I still struggle with the stupid K-bar knife to begin with. 4 victims. There's well over 100 different stab wounds here. There's bones and ribs and different things in the body. And I've seen people say, well, it's a military knife. It'll outlast anything. That's not true. I've seen and watched over the past 3 years. I've watched multiple videos where these blades break. If you hit the wrong thing, they can break. And if you're using them repeatedly again and again and again and again, they could break.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And at that point, I even could say, they could have I did a show on that 2 years ago. They could have broke one of the golf clubs in half and used that. When I heard the word gouges, I was like, maybe they could have used the end of a, you break it and now you have a small handle. The end of a golf club you could have used to hit Kaylee in the face multiple times as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, or there's multiple aspects or options, not aspects, multiple options that you could use in this case. And they're avoiding all of them except one. And that is why I question it. Anything they tell me, I have a tendency, Logan, to go to the opposite end of that and say, I don't believe you. So,
Right. Well, and why did law enforcement never really put much effort into finding the weapon?
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot of effort put into actually going out, boots on the ground, and trying to find a weapon.
Right.
There was
right.
a whole person from like Facebook or YouTube or something that was like, I'm getting people together and I'm going to search the areas from where they said Brian drove and when they said Brian, drove here and then came home. In between these areas, we're going to search for this weapon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, there was no time put into that. And I think that's because they know what it was. They didn't have to do that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, same thing is almost like a machete. Somebody said to look up a sugar beet knife. And it has a very high resemblance to a machete, folks. Except for that hook on the end, which there again is still very interesting. I'd never seen one of those before. That's wild.
That is wild.
Interesting. Okay. There you go, guys. So interesting. All right. So does anybody have any questions that you come up with in here, guys? At all? Let's see here. Oh, thank you, Christina. Let's see here. Do you have any other questions for me specifically, Logan, at all about this at all?
I do. I want to know, just because my brain focuses on this little detail so much and I can't get past it. What do you think about the front door being open? Like both door, the back slider and the front door being open. But
like
then
the 8:30 in the morning thing?
Yeah, but then Hunter coming over and having to put the code in to get in. Which means somebody shut that door.
Shut the door. One of them shut the door. And that's, I believe that lady saw, I think she was out walking her dog, 8:30, saw the door open. I believe that. I then believe that Dylan and or Bethany closed the door. Therefore, in turn, unless Hunter's not telling the truth, which I do struggle with some of what he has said as well, but I mean, I believe that it was open, that one of them closed it, and 8:30. Well, yeah, there could have been people there that were still cleaning up, along with whoever was left, the two roommates still being there, so on and so forth.
Well, the dog walker said they walked by the house at 8:30 and the door was open. And when they came back by the house at 11, it was still open.
Oh, well then. Well, see, then there you go. That's interesting. Oh, see, that part I didn't get.
But then Hunter shows up at 11:47 or whatever it is and has to put the code in. So who shut it?
See, there again, I have issues with him. I don't like. Here's why I don't like him. I'll be honest with you. They got the call. Emily gets the call from Dylan, according to them. And Hunter says that he took it upon himself that they didn't take it seriously, but Hunter took it seriously enough to sprint over there right away, 7 minutes ahead of the girls, go in the house, grab a knife, okay? And he says that he checked Xana's room, and he stressed it when he said it. That's the only one I went into. That's the only room I went into. You're a liar, bud. I believe that he went upstairs twice, at least twice. And I think he saw it all, okay? Mm-hmm. And then, because when they're on the phone call, that was the reenactment, okay, the precursor to the 911 call, I should say. And then they did it again and did 911, because when they're on the phone for 911, you can hear that he sounds like he's quite a distance away when he's talking. And he's like, get out, get out. He was upstairs, in my opinion, Logan. I'll be honest with you. So yeah, I didn't know that. Now, see, that's something else I'm learning today. I didn't know that. So I feel like, and then he also said that he went in the door after he put the code in, and they were in the room to the right. That's not Bethany's bedroom. Bethany's bedroom is down at the other end of the hall to the left. Mm-hmm. So, and I think their story changed around about the whole bedroom thing too. So it sounds like everybody's lying.
Well, when the officer asked her where her room is it the one to the right? She said yes. Even Bethany said her room was to the right, and it's not.
And that's not her bedroom. Her bedroom is at the end of that long hall. Mm-hmm. We saw it in the photographs, the one that has the pink cowboy hat hanging up on the thing.
Yep.
And the door ripped off the dresser for whatever reason. I mean, yeah. And that other room was the spare bedroom office that Kaylee worked out of, so on and so forth. Why is this stuff all happening like this? Why is there no truth?
What I cannot grasp in my brain is they call 911, they're on the phone, they're passing the phone back and forth, and then Hunter says, get out, call 911. What do you mean? You were just talking to 911. Why would you they're on the phone with 911? Why would you say get out, call 911 when they're already on the phone with 911 and you knew that?
It's very weird.
It's very weird.
Very strange. And the same thing is when Nunez arrives, you hear that conversation happen. You hear Dylan say, "Do you have a defibrillator?" He runs by, says yes, whatever. That was like seconds before when she said, "Come on, Bethany, we have to go check." Bethany's clear across the street, standing over by that pole at that point.
Yeah.
What doesn't match up here and why is what I'm saying. You're like, these things don't line up for me. I'm sorry, they just don't. Something is weird, and I'm not blaming it on the 911 operator. I'm blaming it on the whole situation in itself. Like, something is not right. Something is weird. I even question whether or not there was law enforcement there before Nunez showed up. Just saying, guys. I'm not trying to be jump down in a rabbit hole. I'm being real. Like, all these things don't make any sense to me. Like, being a first responder, a lot of that stuff didn't match up. I had issues with the fact that she went automatically to a defibrillator instead of saying, "Do you know CPR?" and running through the whole module for that. That never happens like that. That bothered the hell out of me. But again, I'm not blaming the 911 operator. I'm just saying unless she knew something, okay, like, you're going to need a defibrillator because nothing you do is going to work at this point because she's already gone. Or maybe not. Who knows? I'm just saying there's too much to this that's just so far off.
Now, I don't know how the communication goes with, like, between police and EMS or dispatchers and EMS, but I always thought it was strange that EMS pulls up and they park down the street and they casually walk up. From my understanding, at that point, they still didn't know that it was not somebody unconscious. You know what I'm saying? Like, they still thought somebody was just unconscious and they need to get there.
I'll explain something to you with this too. Thank you, Moto. Again, brother, appreciate you. The 911 call and first response do not add up at all. No, they don't. They don't. Not in my experience, they don't. You're right. So one thing I'm going to point out to you from my own personal experience, when you see the EMS crew start walking up the hill and they walk over to them, and they moved over to them pretty quick, almost like they wanted to stop them, but that's just my opinion. So if you notice that it looked like there were two medics based on what they were wearing, from what I gathered. I don't know for sure, but that's just a guess. 2 medics and 3 EMTs that were standing there. Medics have more power and more, they can do more. They're more of the ones in charge, and the EMTs are kind of a little less. They don't get to do as much. They can't push meds, and they just don't have as much experience, just so you guys know the difference, okay? Thank you, Brian. Welcome, buddy. Good to see you. And Hypatia, sorry. Congrats. Welcome to the sauce. We got 2 new meatballs jumping in today, guys. Thank you so much, Brian. And anyway, when they're walking up the hill, they have respirators around their neck, Logan. Okay, you can see that they're all wearing respirators. There was communication. You don't respond to a call with a respirator on.
Right.
They were told that the smell is bad in here because this has been a period of time. They don't respond that way ever unless they're given that directive, okay?
Because it would just be in the way, technically, if you don't need it then, right?
You don't need it, right? So why would you wear that, okay? Or for that matter, like an SCBA, which is what firefighters wear when they go into a house. They would have been told ahead of time, you're going to need something. The smell is so bad because it's been a long period of time. Rigor mortis is set in and is on an outset now. The bodies are posing, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But they stopped them. They didn't even allow, and I've never seen that before either. That always bothered me. And there are police officers that are cross-trained. I'll tell you that right now. 1 minute, please. So,
Bye, Moto. Good to see you.
You guys taking up, buddy. Thank you so much, brother. I always appreciate you being here, and always so very generous to the channel, brother. Thank you again. Sorry, I was trying to read through something here.
Oh, no, you're good.
Remember how fast the officers got there doing a 911 call? They say it's because the officer was at the station when 911 call. Their response time to that house was always very quick, in my opinion. And again, if this is something that has always bothered me, if Dylan would have, I know I'm jumping subjects, but I have to say this or I'll forget it. If Dylan claims she heard Kaylee scream and come running down the stairs, if she would have picked up the phone, if that's true, right there and dialed 911, she very likely could have saved everybody else's life, in my opinion, without a doubt.
Yeah, for sure. How come we don't have an approximate time of death, which they'd be able to tell by liver, by the blood, by all sorts of different reasons. They'd be able to have a very close approximate time of death for each of them.
Once again, I think Mavitt was told, you give a generalized statement on this and nothing more. Another directive, because she claims it was noon. It couldn't have been noon. We all know that. That's when they got on scene, so that's why they called it that. It's noon. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. She could have done, like you said, they could have done a liver temperature test. They could have done a blood. One of the biggest things that I want to see in the worst way are stomach contents from the autopsy. Okay,
Yeah.
because that will give us, one, you can get a time of death from that, but two, it'll show us if Xana had the food that was from the DoorDash in her stomach, blah, 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 so on and so forth.
Right.
But we're not getting that. So that
Nope.
was done on purpose, as far as I'm concerned, Logan, that whole noon for the time of death, because they don't want us to know exactly what time the crimes were committed.
Right.
There again, it's all propagandized. It's all a game. It's all bullshit. I mean, sorry for the language, but that's 100% what it is. Absolutely. It all plays into the cover up, period.
Yep.
Every bit of it. And it's sickening. It was really cold and all were soaked in liquid liver temp. They could have still done it, Brian. They didn't even attempt to. That's the thing. They didn't attempt to do anything. Nothing at all. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Speaking of response time, have you heard what Eric Gower's response time is when they text him for a ride from Uber? 4 minutes.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Just shutting down your whole life to run to them when they ask you for a ride?
Every time. Have you watched the Eric Gower interview, the new one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm glad, because I was going to go to that next, because I have big issues with him now that I can't even. I was laughing so hard when I watched. I love Lana, first off. Okay.
Yeah.
We go back and forth all the time, and we live in the same area, so I love her to death. And her laugh cracks me up when she points something out that's funny. But it was a great interview, and it was very interesting because the bombshell, in my opinion, is the couple, or the guy that he picked up from John's Alley and dropped off on Indian Hills Drive.
Mm-hmm.
The claim that they made in their report, that they said, well, yeah, we were picked up by a police officer and dropped off at home. Whoa. Mr. Gower claimed to these people that he was a police officer. Now, if he's not, you do know this, I'm sure. That's a federal offense. You cannot do that. You can't, period. Just even saying that is an offense, period. If you claim to be a police officer, if you try to impersonate one in any shape or form, you can be charged federally for that, folks, period.
Absolutely.
So either he is, or he's just an idiot and lied about it to try to impress somebody once again. So there again.
Well, and he was playing Santa at the police station. So maybe he is in.
Well, his wife works at, I think she's a FOIA request clerk or something like that.
Yeah.
Which, again, she divorced him, which you got to wonder where that happened to. Maybe because he's such a creep, handing out drinks to the girls that he's picking up, or maybe hitting on the girls that he's picking up. Or then
I
we
think
find
that's strange in itself. Handing out drinks to the girls that you pick up, you want them to be in talk. Why?
Yeah, maybe so you can take advantage of them curiously. And then you're complaining because your wife and child that you have, you're irritated with that situation.
Yeah.
You're glad they're out of town. You're free this week and you're bored, blah, blah. Like, dude, go sit down. You're creeping me out.
He's very creepy.
Very creepy. And he lies about things. And he's got multiple vehicles, we come to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Not just that little roller skate thing he drives around, that his manly car he has. And
that was very much cleaned out when the police came and took it.
Very much cleaned out. Not just I had my dog in the car, so I vacuumed it. Dude, you did a lot more than that.
Yeah, Brian Kohlberger needs to take cleaning notes from Eric Gower on how to clean a car.
That car, yeah, that car was spick and span, spotless. Period. And he had a
And I
cleaning kit.
understand he's a rideshare driver, so you want your car to, but I don't know. That looked like it was vacuumed that day.
Over vacuumed. Like it, you could see multiple patterns with the vacuum thing. Like he had gone over it again and again and again. Yeah, the Ford Prius. Those incompetent. They're so incompetent in Moscow. I swear to God. I can't get it. I don't understand it. But anyway, so yeah, I've got a lot of issues with him as well. And then I watched the interview with that, and then we found out about the CI being one of the victims. Now, do these two things play off of each other possibly, or is it just two coincidental situations again?
I have no idea. I think that I don't know. Eric Gower is just, when I heard how quickly he would get to the girls when they text him for a ride, and he didn't do that for Dylan though. He did it for Maddie and Kaylee.
No, he didn't even know if Dylan was a man or a woman. There's
Right.
Right.
And then if you remember, he said when he dropped off the girls, he immediately pulled over to clean out his back seat because Maddie had spilled food. Well, the time frame he gave, that means he would have still been sitting outside their house when Dylan texted him for a ride.
Thank you. Yep.
But he didn't say, yeah, I'm outside your house, or I'm really close because your dirty hand friend just spilled her food all over the back seat of my car, so I'm cleaning it up. No, he didn't say that. He said, yes, I'm still driving.
Yep. And then claimed he didn't know who Dylan was. That's bullshit. You knew exactly who she was. You've been at that house how many times? You've probably given Dylan rides. That's why how did she get your number to do this?
Right.
I mean, sure, Kaylee could have gave it to her, but no, I think it was in her phone because you've talked to her before. So why are you distancing yourself from her now? That's weird to me. I'm sorry.
Well, and he would have had to know it was her, because what if it's somebody, if you don't know who's texting you, are you still driving? You're not going to just answer with, yes, I'm still driving, because if you don't know who it is, that person could live 10, 15 miles away.
Yeah.
And now you told somebody yes, and now you have to agree to go pick them up. So you had to know it was somebody local or close to you.
Yeah.
You knew who was texting you.
In my opinion, if you didn't know, you'd have said, who is this?
Right.
What can I do for you? Where are you located? Yeah. What's up, Mark B? Good to see you, bud. So yeah, no, it was a mess.
Mark B makes a good point though. Nobody sat in the seats of his car after he cleaned that either.
No, those look like, they almost look like they could have been like steam cleaned, you guys, to be honest with you, with those patterns. Yes. Very, very much so. Oh, okay. What do we got here? Okay, so there again. Yeah, I should have had these pulled up earlier, but this just blows me away, Logan. It truly does. Every time I see this, I can't get past this. It makes no sense how they can think anybody's going to believe this.
Unreal.
It's going to fall off the bed, like I said, and it if you look at where that's at, somebody moved that. If at the very least somebody moved that and put that there like that, and they shouldn't have. Okay, but again, I still feel like, just like Ann Taylor said, it was placed there. Very much so.
That is absolutely placed there.
Definitely not in the thigh area of where they're claiming it was. At all. That's wild to me. That is so wild to me. Thank you, Tomboy. Crazy.
And if it fell off or got pulled off or whatever during the fight with Kaylee, then it would have way more blood on it. It had to have been placed there at the very end to only get a couple of tiny specks on it.
Sure, yeah.
It had to be placed there after the fight with her and all that, or there'd be way more blood on it.
Right, yeah. And I'll be honest, I'll tell you guys something else too. These knife sheaths, there's no way, if somebody had that on their belt, you're going to tear the belt off of their body before you're going to rip that off. That leather is so strong in the riveting on that. There's no way you're going to do that. There's no way that you would have Like one of these girls would have enough human strength to tear that thing and rip that so that it would fall off, in my opinion. So what, you would rip the belt off of somebody's body or a belt loop or tear that all out of there before you could rip that off of there. So in my opinion, whatever person did this walked in with this in their hand and said, okay, this looks good. We'll put it here. It was placed. That's exactly how that looks to me.
Well, and here's the thing. If it was attached to Brian Koberger's belt loop, wouldn't there be way more DNA on there? Wouldn't he have his own DNA on his own belt loop?
Yeah.
Washing clothes and getting,
100%.
like it just
There would have
doesn't.
to be. Yeah, because like I said, with this one here, the way that they do this, when they rivet this stuff together, you cannot, unless it's very old, which this is not old. This looks brand new to me, by the way, too.
Yeah.
That's another point. But to be able to rip this and pull this apart from any kind of strength, that's not going to happen.
They're
It's
made
just
for that. That's literally what they're made for.
Right. It's just not going to happen. There's no way. So again, I have no doubt that was, I know I jumped subjects again, but I wanted to, because I had those thrown at me, I wanted to throw those up there real fast. There's no way that happened. No way at all. Never will I believe that. Thank you, Tomboy, again. Okay, now can you please ask him if even in this room that you're talking about, which is Maddie's room, is there enough blood in there for two people? Not in my opinion, no.
Not for what they said happened and the beating that Kaylee took. And no.
The only thing that I will agree that looks like it could match up a little bit is like the pillow area where Kaylee was. That does look about right. I still think there should have been a lot more, but what you're not seeing that we should be seeing is all around them. There should be a whole lot more going on there, but there's not. There's a little bit of
like Ethan and Xana's room.
Yeah, agreed. Two people killed in that bed. That bed should be completely red. Okay, but it wasn't. There were spots, but the whole thing should be saturated, guys. The walls all around them both. Every bit of that. It should look like she said, it should look like Xana's bedroom, and it doesn't at all. It's just, that's what tells me, which again, guys, you'd have to have more than one person, in my opinion, to they killed her downstairs and bring her back upstairs. And when somebody passes away, folks, their body automatically becomes so much heavier. Okay.
It's so heavy.
Yeah, you can't just pick somebody up and carry them unless you're a monster. And even then, you're going to have blood all over the place. Okay, think about that. So they were probably extra careful to not do this and do that. Took her up there, placed her in the bed, and there it is. So, again, my opinion. So, we have questions. Let's see. Where are the questions, guys? If you guys are going to ask questions, do me a favor and put like a Q in front of it so I know that you're asking the question. He had a black beanie and black gloves. Oh, you're saying I missed the rest of that. Hold on. Why would he Instagram a picture of a machete? You're meaning? Was that before the murders or after? Also, why was his phone off for Uber and another phone for rides around? Yeah, he he disconnected himself from Lyft and Uber services. Why are you doing that? To go personal with them? And there was also the statement that I think that Kaylee accidentally or maybe went through the service and then she canceled that and then went through him personally. Why are you doing that? That's weird to me. That's weird that she, yeah, I think, unless I'm wrong about that, you can correct me if you know better than I do with that. But
no, he was doing it like, on his own, not through the actual, whatever it is,
for the service.
Yeah.
I had heard that she had went through the service and then canceled it and then called him through his cell number. And that was something else that's a little odd to me too. Why he's not running through the services.
Well, I guess the only thing I can think of that the reason he would do that is money wise, he might get more money.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
More money off of it. But it also then is not recording your whereabouts either.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That was what my point was. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Lucy says, why didn't Ellie preserve or obtain any 11-12 footage for any period prior to the crime? Were they not trying to prove stalking? That's a good question, Lucy.
I mean, that makes sense. If they got the 1112 footage or any footage from around there, a month prior, if they want to say that Brian Koberger was driving by, they would have been able to just see it on the camera.
Very good point. Very good point. Yes, ma'am. Yvonne asked, how did Payne see the Marine Corps insignia if it was button side down? Good question. The only way I can explain that is if he just threw that in after the fact, because then he in turn saw the other side of it. But yeah, the way he describes it is that he saw it with the insignia face up when he saw it. So yeah. And I don't think he ever saw it. I just don't. That's, again, my opinion. But they didn't even bother to obtain even 3 days back. Right. They should have obtained a lot more footage than they did to see, to solidify the stalking situation. I agree with that wholeheartedly, Lucy.
We can even take the whole stalking thing and Brian Koberger out of it. Why would you not obtain footage from days prior to see what the heck is going on in the neighborhood? What cars you're seeing driving by? Is it the same car repeatedly? You know what I mean? Like, just investigative wise, that's what you would do.
And I agree 100%. And I think they didn't because they didn't need to. They already knew what was going on.
Right.
In my opinion. Altruistic Murder says, what was Eric's Uber score and did he have any complaints filed against him? I don't know. That's a good point and a good question. I'd like to know if there were any possible maybe sexual harassment complaints about him being too flirtatious, making improper statements to women or anything like that. That's a very good point. Great question, Altruistic. Any thoughts on that at all? Logan, do you know anything about that?
I didn't. I didn't look into that or see really. I want to say I heard what it was, but I just don't remember what the number was, and it was a while ago, so I don't really remember. I mean, that's a good thing to look into, though.
Very much so. Thank you, Anta PXX, for the super sticker. God bless. Very much appreciated. Very generous. 3 questions. How are there no bloody footprints all over the floor or outside on the concrete parking area? That's a question I have. How did they avoid, especially in Xana's room, anybody that was in there, how did they avoid all of that blood and not track it through the house? I mean, I do believe there was a cleanup done. I'll say that.
Yeah, there had to have been.
Right. Maybe that's how. Is it Rebecca Barr? Yeah. Maybe that's how, but that's the only thing I can see is that they were probably footprints and they cleaned it all up. Maybe they missed one by Dylan's door. You know what I mean?
What do you think about the diluted blood patterns that are on the half wall and also Xana's door? How does it get that way?
I think that now there's 2 options as far as I'm concerned with that. The half wall, I think that was wiped down. Okay. And they just didn't do a great job at it. Xana's door, I think that could have been maybe a mix of saliva as well. That will definitely dilute it. You know what I mean? Like if there's any kind of like fighting and somebody's getting hit in the face, it'll come out and it hit the doors possibly and dilute it that way. Or at that point in time as well, they tried to maybe wash that down a little bit and it just wasn't working because there was too much. But like on the table, I think that was definitely cleaned because there again, they would know her blood shouldn't be there. It should only be upstairs on the 3rd floor. So they wiped that down as well as the half wall where they got blood. And same with Xana's blood being behind the thing. They tried to wipe that down. It was definitely diluted. You could see it. And they missed those because, again, Kim made that point too from Typically Unique. Sometimes because blood's very hard to clean, especially on a porous surface, it'll soak in. And you can go over it as much as you want. And unless you have a good chemical, something based to it, it's not going to remove it, period. It's very hard to get rid of. In the backs of the ambulances, we've had to clean up slaughter scenes in the ambulances, and it takes forever with brushes, deck brushes, and chemicals to get that out of there. And then you basically got to spray it out sometimes too, because it's that thick sometimes and it's that strong. So,
I really struggle with Xana's door, and Dylan's statement because there is quite a bit of blood drops, long ones on Xana's door. So either the door was open, which means you saw Xana and you saw in her room, you could see what the heck, how bad she was, or the door was shut or even partway shut and you saw a bunch of blood dripping down her door.
Yeah, and those are
Either
angular,
one.
right? Those are angular drops. They look like they would be almost like a cast off type situation, and so they're coming at an angle when they come. That's why they drip down so long like that. So it could be, like you said, that the door was partially open. If there was a wrestling match going on inside there where they're dancing around trying to get away from each other and stuff like that, it could have pushed the door partially shut, and things are being like casted that direction from inside the room. If the door was, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess my question or my statement or question is more so like when Dylan said she ran by, either the door was open and she saw Xana, or the door was closed or partly closed and you saw all the blood dripping down the door and you didn't do anything.
Now,
does Xana usually have blood dripping down her door? Like,
no, great point.
You saw one or the other when you were running by and you didn't do anything.
No, I completely misunderstood what you're saying, and I'm sorry. So
I think you thought I was saying, how did it get?
How did it get there? Yeah. No. Sorry about that. First off, I don't believe that statement at all. That Dylan ran by, glanced, and saw Xana because of the position of Xana's body, which unfortunately we have now all seen. And it's like 18 feet roughly from that area that she would have ran by to where Xana was. I don't think it was as bright in that bedroom as everybody thinks it was, for one. And at a glance, you saw her? No, you didn't. Her head was completely out of your view, in my opinion. And when we also got there, Hunter said that the door was partially open, not all the way, when he went in there. So if that's true, the door was, at least in my opinion, halfway closed, okay? So in my opinion, what truly happened was that she went back there, looked at Xana, saw the whole situation, and then went downstairs. So there, in turn, going back to what you said, why didn't you say anything then? According to your interviews and reports, you didn't even tell Bethany what you saw. True, you didn't walk downstairs. They asked her in her interview, if you remember, Logan, they asked, did she say anything to you when they did Bethany's interview? No. Did she say anything when she got to your room? No. So I would expect, if I did that I would go down. The first thing I'm going to say is, holy shit, Xana's dead and there's blood all over the place, and Ethan's dead and there's blood all over the place, but you didn't even mention that? No. None of that lines up for me. Whether you saw her going by or you went back there, either way, like you said, you would have saw the blood on the door, on the wall, all of that. You would have saw all that. I'm sorry. And here's the thing is, even if you didn't come out of your room until the cleanup was over, which doesn't match up with the timeline, you would have heard them cleaning, and you said you didn't hear anybody else there. So why are you lying about this?
Right.
Period.
Who sees somebody in their home, hears their roommate scream and run down the stairs, hears what she thinks she heard is somebody saying, I'm here to help you, and you just spend all night and morning on Instagram and
Indeed.
Yeah, Indeed. I mean, but you're texting Bethany like you're scared. So it just doesn't sit with me.
No, it couldn't sit with anybody. If you have any kind of common sense, I'm sorry. Yeah. And yeah, this is directed at you, Jeff H. I'm sorry, but you have no common sense if you believe that what you're thinking is real when you see all this stuff. I'm sorry. And I'm not trying to be rude when I say that, but damn, at some point you got to say, okay, I see it. It's a problem. We have a problem, Houston. Okay, let's deal with this now. And you guys refuse it. You refuse it for what reason? I have no idea. Are you afraid of the truth? Okay, don't worry about it. There's enough of us here that'll support you. If you can see it, we will. It's okay. It's okay to say, yeah, that's not right. But stop lying to yourselves, please. It's ridiculous. It is truly ridiculous. Let me see. Are there any more questions in here before? What was the reason for the staging? Any thoughts on that one?
I would think that it would be to mislead who committed these crimes, right? I mean, you
Yeah.
would need to stage it to make it look like it was possible for one person to come in and do this rather than who actually did it.
Yes, I agree fully. And again, I'm sorry I keep turning my camera off. My granddaughter, I didn't expect her to be here. She keeps running back around through here. So I'm so sorry for that. Yeah. There was another one I just saw too. Where did it go? Did some of these roll off? Oh my goodness, my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. Where did it go? I just saw it, you guys. Do you guys remember the handprints on the kitchen window? Dylan had a straight shot from her bedroom door to see. Good Lord, sorry about that. To see that window, I think one of the perps was standing there and Dee was giving them signals. That's well, if they were, they had very small hands, which in turn could be a female, I believe. I do believe that there's possibility that a female was involved in this. Any thoughts on that one, Logan?
I've heard a lot of people say that, and I thought initially there was possibly a female involved as well. I heard that there was unknown female DNA somewhere. I just can't remember where I heard that or where the DNA was found, and I don't even know if that's even 100% accurate at this point.
I remember hearing that too, but I it was very slight and quick, and it
yeah,
just that was
like
it.
passed
I don't
over
know if it was a
quickly.
rumor.
Yeah.
Right.
But Molly says I saw somebody, bobbing up and down in the window, which she thought, all that stuff. And I just feel like that could have been a lookout rather
Yeah.
than somebody waiting for their food. And I feel like some of the injuries on the girls could be from a female that's jealous or
Personal. Yes.
whatever. Possibly a fight went on so long with Xana because Xana was winning against a female. Who knows?
Xana was kind of a badass, and I can imagine. See, I even said before too that another reason why I find it hard to believe that Brian Koberger alone attacked these people. That I feel like Xana would have beat the hell out of Brian Koberger personally. Truly, I mean, that's a just knowing who Xana is and hearing the things about her. She's very athletic. I feel like she would have been able to beat the hell out of him and defend herself. That's just my opinion again. But
I feel like Kaylee could have too.
Yeah. Those are the two that I've always believed that probably fought back wholeheartedly.
Yep.
Until they couldn't. You know what I mean? I definitely, and God bless them for that. I hope they did. And I hope they got in some good hits on whoever this was. Which definitely wasn't Brian, in my opinion, because there was not one mark on his body, not one blemish, one crossed hair, one bruise, not one anything. So explain to me how he did all that, knowing that they fought back because of all the issues injuries they had, that there were no marks left. So it just doesn't make sense.
Whoever engaged with both Kaylee and Xana, I'm not saying it's the same person that engaged with both of them, but they were injured for sure. That's why we have blood from an unknown male.
Right.
I think we have 2 different blood spots from 2 different unknown males, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, they were injured in the house. So Brian Koberger didn't have any injuries at all that we could see. I mean, they would have had bruises. They would have had cuts. Obviously, they were bleeding. They would have had, so it's hard for me just with that alone to believe that he was in that house fighting Xana and Kaylee. He would have lost.
Right. There's no way.
He's not very coordinated.
Nope.
There's just no evidence of a fight with him.
Not even a little bit. Nothing. No, I agree with you fully on that one for sure. So this next question says, can we talk about how horrible the odor would have been, but yet the first responders didn't visibly react at all? Now, I will say that in the body cam videos, you can hear like what I would call exasperation in some aspects. They're like going, phew, and a couple of them go out the back door, seems to get maybe fresh air, or they're saying like, holy shit, or dropping the F-bomb and stuff like that. Yes, it could have been from what they're visually seeing, but I do like you could kind of hear them like breathing differently in some aspects on these body cams. And I think that's because of the smell. Okay. There definitely would be a horrible, horrible odor, folks. For those of you that have never experienced it, like I said, the last time we talked about this, every time I talk about it, I smell it immediately. Because of my experiences. It's just bad. It's bad. It's very bad, you guys.
And like you said, somebody told the medics or EMS or whatever to bring to wear the aspirator things to not smell
the respirators, yeah.
Yeah, the respirator to not smell
100%. Yeah. So again, that's not just something you do as a first responder. You don't show up with a respirator, guys, because you don't expect to have to do that right away. Unless there's communication telling you you're going to need this because this is really bad. So, let me see here.
Oh, I have a question for you. I've heard a rumor going around a lot lately, just within the past like week or so, that one of the perps cut off Ethan's manhood. Have you heard that rumor? Because I'm hearing it everywhere.
I heard that years ago.
Okay.
I don't believe. I heard that. I heard that there were intestines found strung around the place. I've heard many theories, and I don't have any way to prove that. I've not seen anything within that shows that.
Yeah, I
so
haven't either.
I don't know. I don't know if that's probably, how rumors get started and stuff like this, especially in this case. There's been a lot of them. So
yeah.
Let me.
Yeah, Tattoo Gal says that would have been in the autopsy, which it would have. So, we'd have
known.
Yeah, I'm just confused why I've heard it so much just within this past week, and I was like, I don't have any evidence of that, so I don't know where you guys are getting this from.
I think some people are misinterpreting something that I saw. When they showed the photos of where they pulled the bed out, there's a lot of blood on the floor that has pooled. Okay.
Yes. And coagulated.
And it's very coagulated in some senses. And there's one puddle that looks to be the shape of what you possibly just said. Okay.
Oh.
And I think some people are looking at that, misconstruing it, and it's truly just a very big coagulated puddle of blood, folks, is all it is. Because he literally was in that corner of the bed bleeding out to the floor, which is why the blood ended up on the foundation outside, probably profusely because of where he was cut at. Okay, so that's truly what it is. And then you got to love 4chan for throwing out the things that it does too. So
yeah,
truly. All right, so a question for you, I'm guessing, is what do you think happened?
Oh no, what I'm gonna
like in totality?
I'm guessing, yeah.
I'm not sure. I feel like we've gotten new information just as of lately with the whole CI thing and things like that. And now I'm kind of going back and looking into interviews and different statements and things like that. They're covering up something. So it wasn't Brian Koberger coming in. I can tell you that. I do think it was probably anywhere from 2 to 4 perpetrators. 2 or 3 is what I think, possibly 4. And I think they were in there waiting for them to come home. I think that's how one of them got upstairs without anybody seeing.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I think somebody was hiding in the utility closet door. They were all over. I do think that they were all over that house, and it took way longer than 7 minutes or 20 minutes. I think that they were in there for quite a while. As far as like specifically who it is, I'm not sure. Now that we have the CI information that just came out, now I do lean towards looking into more of it being a drug hit type thing or something.
Right.
Like that. But other than that, I don't I try and stay open-minded, so when I do get information, I can kind of let it do what it does in my brain rather than being so focused on no, this is what I think it is, and I won't budge from that. So I try and stay open-minded so
Right.
when we get new information, I can kind of let it do what it does. But I think it was definitely more than two people that were in there waiting. It attacked them, and for whatever reason, I don't really know yet.
Sure.
That's about it.
100%. I can agree with that totally. That's a good answer, actually. And I see you guys are saying at 10:46. That's not what you think it is. I'm telling you. I know what you're looking at. And hold on a second here. You don't have any issues with me pulling up certain photographs, do you, Logan?
Not at all.
All right, I'm gonna see if I can grab this real quick. I had it already uploaded per se once, and I'll show you what you're looking at, and it's not what it is. It's really truly not what it is. I know what it looks like, you guys. I'm telling you, it's very very thickly pooled and coagulated blood that just is. That's how it's sitting, guys. I've seen a lot of things. I'm telling you. Let me find this photograph in here. I know we had them in here.
Why they would, if it was a hit, why would they leave Dylan alive then? And I would say because she was probably helpful at some point, letting them in, telling them when they were home, something.
Yeah, or she knows who it is, and she's possibly even close to them, guys. I mean, that's not that far out of the realm for me to ever think.
Why would she suddenly be so scared of Brian Koberger in the courtroom that she asked Bill Thompson to block her view of him if you told the officers that's not who you saw?
Yeah, thank you. I don't believe that whole thing either. I think that was a big show. That she asked him to do that. I don't know that that's even true. I think that was all him, but that's me. Where are these photographs, you guys? We just went over this the other night. So much stuff. And Logan, I'm so sorry that I'm slightly disorganized today. Like I said, yesterday was a very long day, and then I had stuff going on this morning. I was right up to the last minute, and I'm just, my apologies.
I'm disorganized every day in my brain because it's just like all the time.
I get it. I do.
ABD is a mug sometimes.
Yes. Do any of you guys still have these photographs we were going through the other night, to where you can just throw them at me real quick and I can pull this up? I want to show this picture because I know exactly what they're talking about. We looked at it. A couple people brought it up, and I'm telling you that's not what it is. And I'm only doing this because there's so much misinformation out here that one more rumor is just not a good idea, I don't think. Was the screen off the window outside? That was the kitchen, and that was done. That was like that during the summer too, before that even happened. No, not that one. Let's see here. Where did it go? Good Lord. Although I didn't expect this question to pop up in here, but that's okay. Her boyfriend's dad and uncle are AK. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, and that's another one. What are your thoughts? Do you believe that Quinn was there that day, or do you think that he was in Boise?
I'm not sure. I have seen some things that make it seem like he could have possibly been there. Why would Dylan not call him right away?
Bingo.
If you see a intruder in your home dressed in all black, you're hearing sounds of fighting and this and that, who would you call? Probably your dad or your boyfriend.
Thank you. And you don't have to call them if they're already there.
Guess not.
Yep.
Crazy. Yep.
Truly and fully agree with that too.
I mean, she didn't send a text the entire morning.
Right.
To her boyfriend.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Did you see the other photograph? That I'm almost dead set on it now that it is Kaylee. The other photograph in the reflection of the
light,
the bulbs. Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I am struggling to actually make out what I'm looking at.
It's very hard. We have somebody that cleaned it up.
Oh, okay.
And I'm almost positive now. Okay, I found this photograph again, and real quick, you guys, I should have done this earlier just because I don't want anybody getting upset.
Trigger warning. This video includes sensitive and violent content that may not be suitable for all viewers. This video is for 18 plus only.
All right. And again, not everybody can handle this stuff. Even if you think you can, sometimes you can't. Okay. This is what I believe everybody's looking at. This photograph, we all know this was up against the wall beside the bed after they pulled the bed out, and this stuff is all on the floor. This one specific photograph here, okay, is where everybody was drawing my attention to this. I promise you, folks. I promise you. I've even had.
think it would look like that
It wouldn't.
naturally in soft form, would it?
No, it would not. That is a pool of blood that oddly, when blood coagulates, folks, so much of it as well, it'll look like this. It'll take weird forms, weird shapes, things like that. That is 100% just pooled and coagulated blood. And I'm not.
How when they pulled the bed out, something hit that puddle, and it's flipped over a little bit. Something ran into that puddle as they pulled the bed out, and
Yeah, definitely. And there's
coagulation over a little bit.
yes, and there's some other pieces of this that they're not showing right now that have hair attached to them, folks. So yeah, there have been, I believe, pieces of the scalp and everything that were maybe cut because it said that there were scalp injuries, things like that could have been very well cut out. There's one, I believe, on the bed frame as well as over here in this realm of area with the hair attached to it, period. So yes, very bad. But if this is not correct, what you were talking about, I don't know what you're talking about then, but that is what I think. Everybody's come to me with that and said, oh my God, I don't believe it is. Sorry.
Okay. No, me looking at that, I can tell you that's not what it is.
No, not at all. I know
I just didn't know where they were getting the information from or why they were saying that.
Absolutely. And this is why I'm saying a lot of people don't quite understand what blood does as it pools. Where he was cut, folks, his body truly and honestly probably drained of all the blood. Almost, at least most of it. Okay. And if you're laying in one specific position, it's going to pool in that area in big pools of it. Okay. And when it starts to coagulate, mind you, this photograph was taken 8 to 10, maybe more hours later. It's starting to coagulate, and being that it's so thick, it takes a longer period of time. It's not going to dry up because there's so much of it. Okay. So it's going to coagulate in these weird ass forms. I'm sorry to say it, but
It's going to start to look almost like slime.
Yes. And it actually kind of is kind of like slime. It's just red, and it's very thick and discolored in different areas, so on and so forth. But I promise you on everything holy that's all that is, folks, is pooled and coagulated blood. Very, 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 that's blood, same way, pooled and coagulated, folks. All of this as well. And that, I know it looks strange. It truly does. But it's not what you think, because if that's what that was, what you guys thought it was, it would look completely different. I can promise you that.
Well, and it would be redacted.
Yeah, they would have never left that in there. Not even close. Good point. Very good point, Logan. So no, I know it looks like that, but no. We'd have never saw that. Any kind of, now I know they've made mistakes, so on and so forth, but something like that is very clean. It does look like flesh, yes. But I should have showed a video on blood coagulant and pooling and all that kind of stuff, folks, because it does strange things. And there's drag marks, and these drag marks, just so you guys know, in my opinion, is where they pulled the bed out. There was something like that shirt and the clothing that was there. This was pushed against the wall, just like the beer can that's down there now. I think the beer can was sitting on the edge of the crack of the wall in the bed. When they pulled the bed out, it dropped. Okay. And all that stuff that's there on the ground that you see made the drag marks out of the blood to where it's at now. So that's what that all looks like. There's a lot of drag marks in her room, period. Places where I see finger drag marks where it looks like somebody may have been trying, in my opinion, Xana, to crawl away, to get away, to maybe get under the bed to get away from somebody. and they were pulled back away from that area. That's exactly what I saw with that.
Yep, I saw the same thing.
Right, 100%. What's up with this smear? Which one, Twizzy? This here? Are you talking about that? That's what I believe that was. If that's what you're talking about, is when they pulled the bed out, it drug that across the floor.
Yeah, it looks like the edge of the sweatshirt was
Yeah,
pulled through it.
100%. 100%.
I have a question for you. What do you think about Xana possibly writing something in blood on the desk leg?
We looked into that, and at this point, I think Tomboy said, for whatever reason, she believes now that it was just the swabbing from forensics doing swabs there.
So I don't think that, honestly, I don't. And the reason I don't think that, which is fine, we can disagree. I mean, it's not a big
Yeah,
deal.
absolutely,
I
100%.
specifically see what looks like possible writing in it, but then somebody took their finger and did a squiggly through it. So you couldn't read what it said.
That's what I truly thought as well. Hold on a minute here.
But I'm not always right either, so I could be very wrong. They could have definitely used the swab right there as well. I'm just saying what I saw initially. I haven't dug super deep into it yet, though, so I could be very wrong. Just to let you know.
No, you're on point with that too, because we looked at the same exact thing. They said they swabbed it. Well, I mean, yeah, this is Anna's room, Twiz. You're all right, bud. I don't know. I saw where the hell did it go? They sent me that picture as well. We have it. Tomboy put it all together. All the different pictures of that. Hold on a minute here.
I'm not saying they didn't swab it. They could have very well swabbed it as well, because I do see a couple marks that look swabbed. But
Yeah.
I feel like I very clearly see a squiggly line through what looks to be possible writing on the leg.
Yeah, no, I agree with you fully. It does. It definitely does look like something's there. And I wondered too, was that a message? Was she trying to say who did this?
Yeah. I feel like she's smart enough of all of them. I feel like she would be the one to do something like that, like think outside the box to do something like that.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Oh, it's not big enough to show me that. There's another section here that has hair connected to it right here.
Ugh.
Yeah, these are so bad, you guys. It's so bad. Thank you, Busy. 1 minute. I'm trying to get to that other photograph. Where did it go? Where did it go? Of course, the paw prints. You seen the paw prints, right?
I didn't. So I saw what I thought looked like paw prints, but I haven't really dug into that. I took about 3 minutes to look.
Right.
So I don't know what everybody's talking about as far as where they see what they think is paw prints.
Right there.
Okay, no, actually, I was looking on the bed where I thought I saw paw prints on the bed in blood.
Gotcha. See, those I didn't see. Yeah, these are paw prints on the floor at the end of the bed in Maddie's room, I believe.
So there are similar ones in Maddie's room after they remove all the comforters and stuff on the sheet. What looks like possible 1 or 2 half bloody paw prints on the bed as well.
Oh, see, yeah, interesting. I didn't see those. Good stuff. So yeah, there's a couple there.
Yeah.
From obviously Murphy.
That's definitely a paw print.
Yeah, there's a couple of them there.
Yep.
And I think there's another one in the middle that's not and maybe.
Yep, that is.
Yeah, I think it's easier to see them when they're pulled out further, but yeah. So he was in that room at some point, in my opinion. They do look like they could have some kind of like a different type of material in them, whether it's some from being outside or whether there's a blood drop right there too. I just saw.
Oh no, that's definitely in blood.
Yeah, that's I just saying. I wanted to make sure, but
yeah, to me it looks like the one on the bottom, the print on the bottom looks like it has more blood, and then the further he walks, the less blood is tracked. Obviously,
makes you wonder if somebody took and cleaned his paws off after the fact. Just saying. I feel so bad for this dog. I really
Oh
do.
my God.
And I've said too, if they could put this dog, welcome Jenny, if they could put Murphy in a room with Brian Koberger, because you're a dog owner, you know how dogs are.
Mhm.
If they put Murphy in a room with Brian Koberger and watched the reaction that he had, it would tell a story.
Mhm.
And same with anybody else that could have possibly been involved in this. I think it would tell a story.
Mhm.
Because if Brian did this to Kaylee, okay, that dog, even if it wasn't at that point, they have senses. They sense things. They know things that we don't even see or sense or feel. You know what I mean? They can smell things on people that we don't get. And if he would go to Brian and let Brian pet him or go anywhere near Brian, I'm going to tell you right now, that would be proof, in my opinion, that Brian had nothing to do with this. Another good proof of that. And I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
Um,
Because if Brian did do it, Murphy would associate his scent with
Yep.
the actions that happened.
to his owner. Yes.
Right. Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
And it
sense,
affected him because he was then hiding under the desk, right? So it
Oh, yeah.
affected him.
Yeah, he was definitely scared and
Aw.
very, very sad. It was very sad to see that. You know how long it took me to get people to see that he was under that desk?
Oh, really?
That was a process in itself. I'm like, there's a dog behind that chair under the desk. No, that's a rug, Dago. That's a rug. No, it's not. It's a dog.
No, yeah, you could see his nose.
And his eyes, his little eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
clearly to me.
I'm pretty sure there's some people that still don't think it was a dog, but that's okay. What do you think of the one picture in blood that's similar to a face? That is pretty wild. I think part of that though was actually pieces of curly fry, and then the other parts were smeared blood smears. It was a combination of both. And don't get me wrong, it's very strange. Very strange. We have a few questions. I'm looking. Thank you, Miss. Is Mandy one of your mods, hon?
Yeah.
Awesome. Wonderful to have you here today, Mandy. Thank you. She's been all over this. Great stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah, she does great. That's my
Yes.
bestie.
Very cool. I'm looking. Great job today, Mandy, as well. We appreciate you. SRB, she's one of my lead mods as well. She said it took her quite a minute to find him as well. But I was like 3 different pair of glasses, zoomed in as far. I'm like, it's a dog. I swear it's a dog. I'm not just telling you guys this. Some people were getting mad at me for it too. Trying to find the other questions. Let me see. Was it in the mod voice? I was starting to wonder that if that's where we dropped those photos to. You're probably right, SRB. Okay, let me go back down here.
I'm gonna do about 5 or 10 more minutes, and then I'm gonna have to jump and take
Yes.
Bonzi out.
No worries. No worries. Like I said, I didn't want to keep you here too long. It's just okay. That's not. I was looking at the table leg. Okay. Exactly. Oh, that's another one. Yes. Did we have that picture too? Did you see the photograph, Logan, of the wall in Xana's room where there appears to be a photo, an eyelash embedded in blood on the wall?
Is it on the back side of the wall behind the nightstand?
I think so. Yes.
Where you could tell the fight was, the drag marks and by the gouge in the bed, like right back behind that kind of.
Yes.
Then I think I did see it.
I believe that's the one. And here's the thing is that I related that to Kaylee because they claimed that they only found one of her eyelashes.
I think it was Maddie, wasn't it?
Or was
it
that Maddie? I thought it
Kaylee?
was Kaylee.
It could have been. I'm not sure. For some reason I thought it was Maddie. I don't know why. But that's very interesting. Yes, when you said eyelash embedded into the wall, that's what I immediately thought of was, well, somebody had one eyelash upstairs.
Yeah. Unless it was maybe I have it in the wrong place then. Too much at one time. I don't believe it was Xana because I don't think Xana wore those types of things.
She barely wore makeup.
Right. Yeah. And she didn't even need it either. She was such a pretty girl.
Right.
Very sad. All right, let me look back here then. I know you gotta take Bronx out. 1 minute. I'm trying to get
No, you're good. Take your time.
to the photograph over here. 1 minute. Busy. Thank you. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, that's a better version of that photograph everybody was seeing, and I'm telling you guys, that's not what that is. I promise you, that is not what that is.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I know what it looks like, you guys, but honest and truly, it's not. Um, it's horrible, yes, but it's not that. All right, let me get this other stuff here real fast for you.
You'll have to if you don't mind, come on my channel soon.
Oh no, it would be an honor. Absolutely,
cool.
yes,
Yay.
absolutely. Oh, okay. You guys are talking about this. Yeah, those are curly fries, you guys. That's not blood. I'm pretty sure that's what you guys were referring to in that sense. That right there, those are 2 curly fries, and then there's blood there, which is weird. And again, did you notice the Taco Bell stuff that was in Xana's room smashed all over the floor? And there's no talk of that, but you got to
My
wonder.
question was because obviously we see a plate of what had food on it and was either eaten or thrown across the room or whatever. But on the plate was a little black cup that looked like the cheese cup from Taco Bell.
Yes.
So I don't know if that plate was, 2 days old or a day old, and they ate the DoorDash.
There was also the little black box that the Taco Bell fries that they sell comes into. That was in a picture on the floor.
Yep.
So yeah, and they remember Saturday, wasn't it Saturday that Bethany said she woke up and they were all at Taco Bell? I wonder if that was maybe from that day.
That could be.
That
could be.
Over here. All right, let me see now if these. Okay, yeah, there's stuff in this. I have chats and pictures, and I have things everywhere. Sorry. When we start doing our little deep dives and investigating on things, like, it just gets spread out everywhere. We do a lot of research together in our Discord. Come on.
It's hard for one person to all the tiny details in this case to retain every ounce of it and keep it all and organize. I couldn't. My stuff's all over the place.
No, absolutely. Okay.
I got half of it on my computer, half of it on my phone.
Right. Yeah, I have it all over my computer. I'm OCD, like, within my household. But when it comes to this, I'm definitely very disorganized, unfortunately. I'm trying to get better at it, but all right, so there's the one photograph that we were talking about of okay. And I agreed with you. I agreed with them when what the hell did I just do? Sorry. That it definitely, there's something there. I'm sorry. And they said they swabbed it, but to me, why would you need to swab that much of that?
No, and I don't think that's how they do swabs anyway, is it? They don't make squiggly lines down the leg of a desk.
Yeah, and from what I've seen, at least because I've watched some forensic stuff, a lot of it actually. Yes, I've seen them do that, but they usually will roll the tip of the swab in it so it absorbs it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just saying. So there's that. And then there was that other photograph. I can't remember where the hell it was. Oh,
the eyelash one.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking for now. And then, did you notice that there was no blood, not even a drop, from what I can tell, in the rug that was underneath Xana?
Yeah, I don't remember seeing blood on that.
There was none, Logan. I looked as much as I could. I don't see any blood. There's nothing looks like it's absorbed. See, that's a better photograph of that. And those don't look like swabs to me. I'm sorry. They don't. I agree with you.
Yeah. Follow at the very top, follow the line. Yep. And then see how it squiggles on the way down.
Yeah.
It just keeps going all the way down. To me, that looks like she was writing something in there and somebody came behind her and was like, fuck that. And
ran a line through it so you couldn't read it. Yeah. See? Good point. Yes. Yeah, that makes sense. That does not look like like bugle swap to me at all. I'm sorry, but very good point. 100% what I was just thinking too. That's
I could
wild.
be wrong, but that's what my brain does. That's what I see.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I have that flipped and flopped and spun around different ways. I'm looking at it. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, wait, here we go. Finally. Good Lord. Took long enough. Yep, there it is. Okay. That one right there. See that?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. I did that creeped me out when I first saw. I'm like, oh my god, that is definitely like I've seen blood dry and crack and things like that. Never
That
have ever looked
very
back at
much
mine.
looks like a false eyelash. Very much.
Yep. I just thought, wow,
Wow.
that's so bad and sad. It really is.
I wonder how it would get there like that.
If you took somebody and shoved their face into the wall, maybe.
But she wasn't, I don't think she would have been wearing eyelashes, was she? I mean, I guess we don't know. She could have been.
If they didn't take them off, I could have swore in the video where you see her at the grub truck and when you see her at the bar, she kind of looked like she was. I'll have to
Oh,
go back and look again.
I'm sorry. I was talking about Xana.
Oh no, yeah, no, I'm talking about Kaylee. I think that's Kaylee's, but Xana doesn't wear them from what I
No.
understood.
So this is in Xana's room, though, correct?
Yeah, it is
Okay,
in
so then
Xana's
Kaylee would have
room.
been in Xana's. That's very interesting.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
And that's why it kind of took me. That was one of the things that definitely made me think if Kaylee was running. And I don't remember ever hearing anything about Kaylee's blood showing up in Xana's room, but that doesn't mean it didn't. Okay.
Right. Because they're
And
not going to sit there and test every ounce of blood throughout that.
right.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So I wondered, did maybe Kaylee was in Xana's room when she died?
Very interesting.
You know, if she was trying to get there to get some protection from Ethan, and then it was too late, obviously. And she goes in there and got stuck in there, trapped in there by a couple people possibly, and that was one of the situations. Maybe her face got shoved into the wall, and it got ripped off of her eye or something stuck in the blood. It's just a thought, you know what I mean?
You guys, if there's ever anybody in your home, run outside if you can.
Yeah, get away.
The first thing you should do, run outside. Run outside,
Scream.
set off car alarms, scream, do whatever you
Whatever.
have to do. Don't run into a bedroom. Don't run upstairs.
No, don't trap yourself in a situation
Mm-mm.
because that's what happened here, I think, in
Yep.
some situations. So yes.
I do think at this point that they carried her upstairs, and which would obviously have to be more than one person.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
And
was her.
there is audio out there. Yes, I've heard it. We don't have any way to verify it. We don't have 100% way to say, yes, that's true. But somebody took the audio that Jules got and they kind of added their own words to it. It was, she was a transcriptionist for the police department and put down what she heard. And at some point, part of that audio, she hears them say, get her in Xana's room. Is it true? I don't know. Is it real?
Yeah.
We don't know, you guys. But again,
I feel like that audio is, I think it says that something was going on at different times than we expected it to, but I think it's so hard to tell exactly what's being said.
sure. That's how I feel about it too. It's especially like there's captions stating gurgling and choking. I don't think we'd ever hear that, but
No.
yelling
Not
and screaming
inside.
and stuff. Yeah, 100% right. So, Witchy just said something there. Where'd it go? The autopsy stuff from yesterday's release eliminates the possibility of anyone being in anyone else's rooms when the killing started. Okay. Well, we don't know. We don't know. Yeah, Ethan has a mustache. No, you wait 8 hours to call the cop. Right, Twiz. Right.
Somebody said that eyelash could have also been there before that night. You know, they
that's-
don't seem
yeah.
to be the cleanest people. So that's
100%.
possible too. That's a good point.
Yes, very good point. Very good point. Every instance of Kaylee's blood outside her room is transfer post killing. There you go. Listen, guys, I just throw out things that pop into my head from what I see. That's why we speculate like we do, because we just don't know anymore. I don't see any more questions in here. So, and I know you got to go. So I want to say I really appreciate this. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to spend it with us over here.
Yeah, thanks for
and
having me. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you bringing your community over here as well. It's awesome, and I would love to do this again as soon as you're ready.
Yeah,
And it'd be an honor to join you on your channel. I would love it.
yeah, that'll be
yeah.
fun.
Once again, I want to apologize for my disorganization today. I'm really definitely not ever like this. Usually, yesterday was so long, and I didn't sleep much last night. Too much running through my head with all this stuff. And I promise you that next time I'll be a lot more organized.
When you come to my channel, I'm going to be doing the same thing. I just do whatever pops in my head at the moment. So
well,
I try and put stuff up in like some sort of rhyme or reason, but a lot of times it just kind of takes its own course and we end up in wherever.
Sometimes that's the best way to do it too. You know what I mean,
Yeah.
Logan? I'm glad you're feeling better. It's glad to see you back out here doing stuff
Thank
again.
you.
I'm grateful to see that. Guys,
Yeah.
again, please, 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 if you have not yet done it, like I always say, what are you doing with your life? Make sure you subscribe to Bronx Tales True Crime. You will not be disappointed, but you will be disappointed if you don't, because you don't get to see all the great stuff this awesome lady puts out. She does a great job. And of course, you get to see her adorable dog in the background all the time. He's so awesome. I love it. Really is. How old is he, if I can ask?
He will actually, what day is today? He'll be 5 in 4 days. So I have to plan a birthday party within the next 4 days for a dog.
Hey, how did you end up with him?
What?
How did you end up with him?
I got him as a puppy.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
And what is he like? Is he a crossbreed or is he just?
He's a bully. So he's a mix with American Bulldog and Pit Bull.
Gotcha. He's so cute though. He's really
He's so good.
He is really a very good dog.
Yeah.
Very, very, very good. So good stuff. I'm glad that we get to see him. I'm glad you put him on with you, and everything is really cool. It makes your channel even that much more unique, and I love it. So thank you again.
He rules my world, so I might as well name it after him and make him the host of every video.
There you go. There you go. You do an amazing job with what you do. I wanted to let you know that. We're very grateful to have you as part of this community. And I'm looking forward to everything you have coming in the future. And of course, like I said, I'm looking forward to joining you on your channel. So again, thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. You also do amazing work, and I appreciate everything that you put out and all the effort you put in there, and your mods and your subscribers and your channel. Everyone's great. I love this community.
I do. I'm so proud of the community that I think we've all created. We all share a lot of the same community, and they're amazing. They truly are. They're very smart, intellectual. They think of things that I sometimes would never even imagine thinking about. They're an amazing community. I don't care what anybody says. I'll die on the hill. Period. End of story.
If you make a point, I promise there's at least 10 people that are going to come up with something that your brain just didn't do in that moment. And you're like, oh, that's a great point. That's a great idea. I love this community. Everybody's respectful.
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody's
just they're not afraid. I always tell them, like, tell me I'm wrong. Show me where I'm wrong.
Yeah.
There's a few people in this community that are very, very good at what they do in this. They won't come up here, but they'll tell me in the chat, nope, Dago, that's not right. This is what it is. And I want to know that. You know what I mean? Yep. I want to know that. So again, I love the community. I truly, truly do. And I wouldn't know what to do without it. So guys, thank you so much, guys, for everybody for joining us from both communities. And again, Bronx, thank you. Or Logan, sorry.
Everybody calls me Bronx, and I like it, actually.
I get it. Thank you so much for joining us and bringing your awesome people over here as well. And hope to see you very soon.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye and see you guys. I'll see my people on my channel probably Monday. So everybody have a wonderful day. Do something nice for yourself. Be kind, but more importantly, be kind to your animals, guys. Have a great day. Absolutely. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. You know, you guys, again, as always, amazing show. Like I said, I'm sorry I was way disorganized today, way more than normal. And I just had a lot of stuff going on beforehand and so on and so forth. So I can't wait to be able to get back together with her again and go through some more of this stuff, because there's so much more of it, guys. And you guys are amazing. I appreciate you all so very much.
Thank you to my moderators again for doing what you do. Much love to you all. And if anybody has any time after the fact, I'd love to jump into the mod chat with you guys just to discuss a couple of things. Thank you very much. Yes, Miss Mandy, absolutely. You as well. I appreciate you very much. You did a great job in here today. Wonderful to meet you. I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon. And anybody in here that may have donated, supporting the channel in that aspect, God bless. Thank you so very much. Never expected, but always appreciated. Guys, don't forget to love yourselves and love each other. Don't change a thing. You guys are the beautiful people, and I'll see you guys very soon. Don't forget tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. Join us over at Devil's Advocate for Crimes After Dark. I'm looking forward to that as well. Always. See you soon, folks. Bye-bye.
The coffee's cold, the final stain. We